slight illness, has not been risked. He's not on the bench. And Newcastle, in their traditional black and white stripes, black shorts and white socks, will get us underway, kicking from left to right as we look towards the south stand here at the King Power Stadium. Leicester, of course, at home in their traditional all blue. Chris Iwelumo alongside me. Happy Boxing Day to you, Chris.
Happy Boxing Day to you, Ian.
What are you expecting here? Because we're underway now.
Goals, aren't we?
Yeah,
both teams have, I think they've come back after the break, started well, got into the quarter-finals of the EFL Cup, what it's all about. Back to winning ways. It's so important for both managers, both sets of fans, players, that they do start where they left off.
There's still 4 more live games to come once we're done with this game this afternoon, and the games that are currently getting underway either on Talksport 2, Everton against Wolves, or the Palace, Fulham, or the Southampton Brighton games that are just getting underway, live and exclusive to Talksport on this Boxing Day. That via the Talksport app. But here on Talksport, it is Leicester against Newcastle, and we'll keep you updated with goals as they go in elsewhere, offering our around the ground service during the course of this commentary. Newcastle in possession, with Fabian Schär just chipping the ball over halfway, trying to get Joe Linton through the middle. It was a poor clearance by Amate, and it's rolled out to Kieran Trippier on the right-hand side for Newcastle. Willett trying to clip it into the box, run by Longstaff, and it just evaded him. Got across his body, and he couldn't collect it, and it just bounced through to Danny Ward, and it stays 0-0 with a minute gone.
It's a simple defensive clearance from Amate there. You know, the ball, it's a nothing ball coming up. Either just put your head through it, make sure it's better control, closer to the body. But you say, Willett was onto it, and straight away you're on your back foot.
Giving it away again, Leicester at the edge of their own penalty box, and Newcastle trying to block it. Joe Linton goes down, and the referee gives a penalty. Only a minute and a half gone, and a penalty awarded. A challenge needlessly made inside the box, and the referee is just checking with his assistant to make sure he's happy with the award. But it was Daniel Amate who's had a horrible start to this game, bringing down his man. It's a penalty to Newcastle.
Just wait until you see the reaction here. As soon as Linton takes the touch, it has to be there quicker to make the contact. It's a terrible challenge, isn't it? There's no doubt about it. It's a penalty kick, but just on his back foot, straight from the first one, putting the head through it, making a better clearance, and then there, back foot, go and make a challenge. You know, being your front foot, go and make contact with the ball there. It's already committed to the challenge. 100% penalty kick, isn't it, Ian?
It's Chris Wood, once of Leicester City, going back 10 years to when he made his debut for the club. Now he's got the responsibility from 12 yards against Danny Ward to give Newcastle an early lead here in the East Midlands. Wood stands on the 18-yard line. Referee checking for encroachment, blows his whistle. Still Wood stands stock still. Now he addresses the ball, right-footed, scores straight down the middle. What a start for Newcastle United, who've been so brilliant this season. And it's the former Fox on Boxing Day who puts them in front. Chris Wood from the spot. Leicester 0, Newcastle 1.
Well, it's an excellent penalty. You know, he put everything behind it, straight down the middle. Goalkeeper made the decision to move to the left. And like you say, a lot of pressure under Wood as well. He wants to score. He's got an opportunity that he never thought that he would have. 1-0 up, Newcastle, and they're a different beast when they've got that goal. You know, the fluency that they play, they'll put them on Leicester on the back foot. They've got to understand, they've got to react, get back into this game. It's going to be a very difficult afternoon.
And Leicester architects of their own downfall inside these first 90 seconds. Daniel Amate, who I was watching at the World Cup not so long ago, has had an intro to this game to forget. So already Leicester City trying to keep their momentum going from the brilliant run they were on prior to the World Cup. Have got work to do here in front of their own. We played 3 minutes on Talksport on Boxing Day. Leicester 0, Newcastle 1. Harvey Barnes, who's been in brilliant form prior to this World Cup, clips it down the left-hand side of the box. Dewsbury Hall pulls the ball back to the far post. Flying in for the header was Castagna, but he couldn't get contact on the header. But Tielemans, well, he tried to retrieve the ball, but then just passed it straight to Chris Wood. And Newcastle trying to attack down the left-hand side if they can. Amate's back-pedalling. Wood going like a train through the centre. It's rolled across to the right-hand side, and a chance to be clipped in for the box. Guimaraes drives the ball goalwards, and it's toe poke behind in the end by a desperate Luke Thomas. And Newcastle are right on the front foot, and they've got a corner. 1-0 they lead.
Well, it's an excellent break from Newcastle, a break that shouldn't have happened. I think Tielemans has to be better with it. Close control, go and win that one that's bouncing. When he gets the ball under control, gives away possession far too easily, and then on the back foot, it's relentless. Newcastle with energy moving forward, and then great, giving a fantastic little movement in behind. The way to pass from Almiron was excellent. He never got enough on the connection to steer it goalwards. Amartey's got a foot on it, but again, they've got to defend well here, Leicester.
Corner kick for Kieran Trippier on this near side in our commentary position as we look right to the south stand end. Floated to the far post. It's knocked down. Dan Burn was nearly onto it, but it's cleared out to the left-hand side where Joelinton keeps it in play. It's going to be rolled back into the middle of the half for Fabian Schär, playing a ball straight down the middle, but it's just overhit. Guimaraes appreciates the pass, but it's gone out of play for a goal kick to Leicester City. So ours was the first goal that went in anywhere in the 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. Bristol Rovers have just taken the lead at Wycombe Wanderers in League One. Josh Coburn on loan from Middlesbrough with yet another goal for the Gas. Leicester have a free kick awarded to them after Luke Thomas was just fouled by Almiron in the left-back position. Amartey at the edge of his own penalty area finds Soumare, who clips it out first high to Timothy Castagna, right-hand side. And Leicester just trying to get a feel of the ball now, Chris Iwelumo, trying to get themselves some confidence.
Well, this is what we know Leicester can play. You know, they want to play out from the back, they want to play through the thirds, but the tempo of the ball, the tempo of the pass has to be quicker. You know, the way that Newcastle are without the ball, they're going to put pressure, force that error. Like say, look, Thomas got caught out there. Again, Amartey's been caught out. Tielemans has been caught out. It has to be moved quicker.
Long ball downfield from Nick Pope, superbly nodded down for Willock by Chris Wood. It's a very different sort of striker that Newcastle are deploying this afternoon. Slight illness means that Callum Wilson isn't around, and the other England star we were hoping to see, James Maddison, with a slight knee injury. Saw him at the darts the other day, actually. James Maddison loves his darts. So do we. We've still got it going on through to January the 3rd on the Talksport network. But here come Newcastle. Almiron, lovely 1-2 in the area, shows the goalkeeper and nicks it past him. Absolutely superb from Newcastle United, cutting Leicester to ribbons. We've only played 6 minutes and Newcastle are 2 goals up, and Miguel Almiron in the form of his life. He has now got 8 in his last 9 appearances, and Newcastle are going goal crazy early here at the King Power. Leicester 0, Newcastle 2.
It's an excellent goal from start to finish. The way to pass from Trippier in behind for Almiron, the close control. He comes across, he drives inwards into the centre of the pitch, and then just lays it off to Guimaraes, gets it back first time, and his first touch takes him basically in on Danny Ward's goal. And like you say, he's not in the form that he's on, he's not going to miss this. Just opened the goal up, didn't they? Find the bottom left-hand corner. It's an excellent finish, but he started it, he finished it. Excellent goal. The way to pass from Guimaraes was excellent. His first touch, brilliant, and then the finish speaks for itself.
Almiron makes it 2-0 to Newcastle. There's a goal at Goodison Park in the Premier League. Matt Jones.
There is indeed. Everton 1, Wolves 0, and it's Yerry Mina, his first Premier League start since early August, who heads home from McNeil's corner. The first shot of the game, the first goal of the game. 8 minutes gone. Everton 1, Wolves 0.
Don't think it's any secret that Everton are a much better team when Yerry Mina is in it, so he puts them in front, and Newcastle are absolutely on top of the Foxes in these early stages. 8 minutes gone on Talksport. Leicester just can't get the ball down and play the ball to each other. They've just put the ball straight out of play for a needless throw to Newcastle on the far side of the field. 8 minutes gone and Leicester just don't know what's hit them.
Yeah, but they're overplaying in the wrong areas. You know, you're looking down both sides flanked. You know, Barnes is on great form. You know, Dennis Pratt's come into the team. So a little bit of quality down both sides, and then the energy of the fullbacks to get up and support. At the minute, they're just bopping it into the whole of midfielders, playing in the defensive areas, and the way that Newcastle are just swarming, making sure they're on the front foot, forcing that error, making sure that pass goes back. They're creating their own downfall at the minute, Leicester.
Burton 1, Lincoln 0 in League One in one of the 3 o'clocks. No winning 4 for the Brewers, but they lead through Sam Hughes. 2-0 here to Newcastle if you're just tuning into Talksport on this Boxing Day afternoon. An early penalty after 90 seconds converted by Chris Wood, and Miguel Almiron with his 8th goal in his last 9 appearances, doubling the lead just after the 5-minute mark. We played 9 now at the King Power, and Botman, who hasn't lost when he's played for Newcastle this season in 16 appearances before today, sends the ball out to the left-hand side looking for Joelinton, who just holds the bottom of his foot as the ball went out of play for a Newcastle throw, but he just walks back on and should be okay to continue. Ball's back with Fabian Schär, Botman's centre-half partner. Long snap. Oh, that's a better challenge from Sumare. That allows Dewsbury Hall to advance to the edge of the area. Little back flick from Daka. Misses out the run of Castagna. Running onto it is Pratt into the right-hand side of the box. Keeps it alive. Barnes recycles the ball back across the face of goal. Doesn't find Daka. Nodded down by Almiron for Trippier. Tried to clear it, but only as far as Luke Thomas. Thomas with the ball in. Daka has a swing at the near post. Gets it horribly wrong, and it goes way, way over the crossbar for a Newcastle goal kick. 10 gone. Leicester 0, Newcastle 2.
Well, it's about time. A little bit of action there for Leicester, you know, reacting well. Sumare winning that challenge, really strong challenge in the centre of the pitch as well. But bodies, blue shots, bobbing forward, hitting the 18-yard box. Good quality coming in from both sides, I have to say. But then, when Newcastle defend the area, who's picking up the second ball? Leicester, keeping that pressure on. So important, that Ian.
2-0 here to Newcastle. Goal at Ashton Gate in the Championship. Talksport's Lawrence Mora.
Bristol City 0, West Brom 1. Matt Phillips with it, a ball down the left channel. He raced away, and it was a superb finish into the far corner beyond O'Leary to give the Baggies a lead. 9 minutes on the clock. Bristol City 0, West Brom 1.
No play here for a moment. Newcastle player getting treatment. They're 2-0 up. Elsewhere, Fleetwood leads Sheffield Wednesday by a goal to 0 in League One. On a half-decent run, Fleetwood 3 unbeaten. Sheffield Wednesday are 14 without defeat, and Sean Rooney has put Fleetwood in front. Let's get an update from Southampton, Brighton in the Premier League. Ian Abrahams.
10 gone, Southampton 0, Brighton 0, all Brighton really so far. Best chance, Mitoma, left-hand side with a shot saved at his near post by Bazunu. It's live on the Talksport app. It's Southampton 0, Brighton 0.
And a quick update from Selhurst Park as well. Talksport's Jake Robson.
11 minutes played, but it could have been 1-0. It is Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. Andres Pereira with a free kick from a good 30 yards out. Made a really good connection cutting across the ball, and it was dipping down into Guaita's right-hand corner, but the goalkeeper managed to get a hand to it and tip it behind for a corner. That the best of the opening exchanges. Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Haven't missed a kick. We're just back underway here at the King Power Stadium on Talksport. Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 2, and frustration already around us in this West Stand here at the King Power as Leicester's latest move upfield breaks down, and Newcastle ended with a free kick right in front of Eddie Howe's technical area.
It's a wrong decision. Luke Thomas in good possession of the ball. He's trying to play it inside. I think he has to go over the top. That weight of pass would have been very important for Barnes to kind of get on the end to, but it was an excellently timed run as well from Barnes.
Ball's out of play in Leicester's right back position. Leicester had won 13 points from 18 that were available prior to the break. Remember, they'd lost 7 of their first 8 Premier League games this season, and the heat was definitely on Brendan Rodgers at that time. And they were keeping clean sheets until recently, 6 in their last 8, but they find themselves 2 goals down here already and under the pump. The throw down the right-hand side for Timothy Castagna, the Belgian fullback. Ball's taken away from him and won back by Botman. Schär in the centre circle, faced up by Dewsbury Hall, just clips a lovely ball onto the chest of Trippier on this near side. Tries to skip infield. It will make its way through to Almiron, right-hand side of the box. And a vital clearance from Amate. Trippier just clips it to the far post. Jolinton with a header down. Comes off Castagna's back. He didn't know a lot about it. And Leicester have a player down inside the box. And eventually Jared Gillett, the referee, allows treatment to be administered to that player who's down hurt. And play will stop so he can... I think it's Castagna who's down, isn't it?
Yeah. Who
needs a bit of treatment. Elsewhere in League One, Accrington Stanley 0, Barnsley 1. 5 straight league wins for the Tykes, starting the afternoon in 4th, and they lead already. And that you heard from Chris Iwelumo is watching the replay, as it was a fairly hefty challenge on Pratt in actual fact from Joe Linton.
Yeah. Well, Pratt, he's just got his eye on the ball, isn't he? Joe Linton's always going to get to the ball. He's hanging up at the back area. Pratt is watching it all the way and just runs into the knee of Joe Linton there. He took a very, very sore one on his left-hand side.
Let's whilst we've got Pratt getting some treatment, let's see how Wolves have responded to going behind at Goodison Park. Talksport's Matt Jones.
Still Everton 1, Wolves 0, and Wolves haven't responded at all really here, Dan. Everton, the confidence beginning to flow through them after that early goal. They feel like they really need it. Julian Lopetegui has dispatched his coat down on the dugout in front of me as he begins to get his teeth into this Wolves side. But still, Wolves awaiting their first shot. Still Everton 1, Wolves 0, and don't forget there's full commentary of this one on Talksport 2.
And there's full commentary on the Talksport app of the other ongoing 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Crystal Palace against Fulham and Southampton against Brighton. Both those games goalless. We're still waiting for Pratt to get back to his feet after he was bundled into by Joe Linton inside his own penalty area. Harrogate have taken the lead in League Two against Grimsby Town. Luke Armstrong for the Yorkshire side. So the only goals we have, you've heard, Everton 1-0 up on Wolves, Yerry Mina. West Brom a goal up on Bristol City in the Championship. Barnsley a goal up at Accrington. Burton lead Lincoln. Fleetwood lead Sheffield Wednesday. Bristol Rovers 1 up at Wickham. And Harrogate 1 up at Grimsby. And Dennis Pratt is only just now sitting up.
Yeah, it's worrying. You know, I think just for the fact that he hadn't sat up yet. You know, I think the collision was very, very strong on that on the rib cage as well. So hopefully there's been no damage done there.
Yep. Goal at St Mary's in the Premier League. Let's go straight there, Ian Abrahams.
14 gone. Southampton 0, Brighton 1. To say it's coming is a bit like an understatement expecting Christmas at Turkey at Christmas. It's Adam Lallana, though, against his former club, and he didn't want to celebrate afterwards. Lovely ball in from the left-hand side. A deft flick header from Lallana, 8 yards out beyond Gavin Bazunu into the back of that. Live on the Talksport app, Adam Lallana's just given Southampton a bit of a bloody nose here. It's Southampton 0, Brighton 1.
And Burton have just doubled their lead against Lincoln at the Pirelli in League One. John Smith with the second. Pratt is just being led behind the goal, and I think Brendan Rodgers might be forced into making a change here, because I cannot see Pratt being able to continue. I think Jose Perez is getting some last-second instructions so that he will come on to replace Pratt at the next break in play. But Pratt is just being led very slowly behind the goal to our right-hand side at the south stand end, and he will make a very slow journey back to the dugouts just beneath us. So Leicester temporarily down to 10 men, but they've got Barnes away down the left-hand side. Approaching the byline, gets into the area, tried to lay it back to try and find Patson Daka, but the layoff sold Daka short. It did eventually go out off Almiron for Leicester's first corner of the game, but they're 2-0 down here.
Yeah, just trying to overplay, aren't they, in that attacking third? I think Barnes, can he whip the cross across? First attempt. He's trying to link up with his striking partner there. He's cut it back. Like you say, Miguel Almiron defensively come back and done his duties here. But like you say, they have reacted a little bit better. Obviously, Dennis Pratt, that's going to be a bit of a blow. Hopefully, nothing too serious.
Yeah, he's only just made the corner flag.
But it's not a bad replacement coming on.
Not bad at all. In fact, Perez is going to come on before this corner is taken by Newcastle. So Jose Perez, who did play in the 3-0 win at Milton Keynes in the EFL Cup in midweek, so he's already got some minutes under his belt since the World Cup. Yeah, lovely goal he scored too. So he's on to replace Pratt, and that's arguably a more attacking midfielder to have. Pratt is much more of a midfield general, as it were. Let's see what Tielemans can do with the corner kick into the near post. It just misses out Amate. Touch back to Perez. First touch at the edge of the area to send Pratt away, Barnes away again down the right-hand side. Barnes wins another corner, a second in quick succession for Leicester, but they trail 2-0 here.
So that's the thing with Newcastle. Dan Burns straight out, seeing where the danger is, making sure he stops that cross from coming in. You know, it's been, like you say, a good reaction from Leicester. They need to keep this pressure on, making sure that they're winning second balls.
So a corner on the right-hand side in front of the Newcastle fans in that northeast corner of the King Power Stadium, opposite our commentary position. Right-footed outswinger into the near post, headed away by Almiron, and well brought down as well by Guimaraes. And now Newcastle launching a counter-attack. Important interception though by Kiernan Dewsbury Hall to stop Chris Wood getting away, and Longstaff, who was charging through, and Dewsbury Hall calmly tucks it infield to Samare. Samare running into a bit of a cul-de-sac, but he had the ball nicked off his toe by Guimaraes, and it ends up being a throw for Leicester.
Very lucky man, Samari there. I don't think there was much in it. Guimaraes seen the danger, was putting the pressure on. He had nowhere to go, took too many touches in his own defensive third there, and went to floor very, very easily. The referee gives him a free kick.
Now Daka giving chase through the centre of the pitch as the ball over the top was just intercepted in the nick of time by Botman. Now Willock inside the centre circle, gets dispossessed by Tielemans, but the ball forward from Samare was nowhere near Dewsbury Hall, and Newcastle have it back, and the frustration builds around the King Power. 2-0 Newcastle.
He still has to react. Dewsbury Hall there. And Samare's won the ball. He's put it through the two midfielders of Newcastle there. The space was there. Dewsbury Hall has to be alive to it. What I'm more disappointed with, that ball came forward from Castagna to Daka. He's done everything that he can do. It's bounced 3-4 times before there's any blue shots picking up that second ball.
Perez turns in the inside right position for Leicester, out to the right wing for Castagna, just holds the ball up, then rolls it back for Tielemans. Samare in the centre of the Newcastle half now receives the ball, strokes it back out to the right hand side for Castagna once more, who's gone down, foul, free kick to Leicester. You're listening to Leicester 0, Newcastle 2 on Talksport with Now Sports. Don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream the Premier League live without a contract from £11.99. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply. Fleetwood 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Wednesday equalised through George Byers at Highbury in League One. And a free kick for Leicester out on the far side of the field. Yuri Tielemans is addressing. Right on the touchline on the far side, midway point of the Newcastle half. Newcastle holding their line just ahead of the 18-yard box. It's rolled down the right-hand side of the box, intended for either Daka or Barnes to make a run across. Neither did, and it's whacked out of play for a Leicester throw. Taken quickly by Tielemans, gets it back. Right-hand corner of the box, plays it down the right-hand side of the area. Chance for Perez to try and play the ball through the legs of Dan Burn. And Burn not only keeps possession, but shows a bit of twinkle toes on that near side. And he's kept it in play and found a teammate with his clearance. They make a bit of a mess of it in the end, though, Newcastle, and Leicester win it back. Barnes tries to lay it back to a teammate. It won't quite break for Luke Thomas, but Fass, who's had very little of the ball about Fass in these early stages, the Belgian centre-half. He has it now from Amate. Strokes it out left to Luke Thomas. Thomas asked a lot of with that ball, and he couldn't keep it in play, and it's a throw to Newcastle and League 2-0 on Talksport.
Well, you tell me, can Fass not do what Luke Thomas just done there? Did he not have the time to do it? You know, get his head up, actually just put it in behind, because, like you say, all he's seen at the minute is black and white shirts coming at him. So he's got to react. He's got to have a picture in his mind, knowing exactly what he wants to do. You've got to say Newcastle defend very well. They don't concede many goals, no. Ian. So they manage the game well. They do that part very well, the ugly part.
They've only conceded 6 on their travels this season, Newcastle United, and the most clean sheets home and away in the Premier League this season with 7. And at the moment, let's not forget, they're going second in the table, albeit with 2 games more played than Manchester City. But they are firmly in control of this match. And here's Joe Linton nicking the ball in field to Guimaraes, trying to send it out to Willock on the left-hand side, but it's won back by Leicester. Perez finds Castagna, chips it up to Daka inside his own half, heads it in quite cleverly in field to Dewsbury Hall, and a nice cushion header from Dewsbury Hall allows Samare to come forward. And here's Dewsbury Hall again. Lovely ball through for Daka. Daka goes around the keeper. The ball's trickling towards the goal, and it's cleared away off the goal line, but Barnes gets the ball back into the area, and then he's dispossessed. Almiron got a foot in, and then eventually a free kick's awarded to Leicester City for a foul by Longstaff. But Daka went in with the keeper. They both collided. The ball trickled towards the goal line, but it was never really going in before Newcastle hooked it away.
Just needed a little bit more pace on it there. Daka, and obviously coming together onside as well. It's an excellent ball, it's an excellent run. Just need a little bit more. Great defensive work, getting it away.
Another goal at Goodison Park in the Premier League. Matt Jones.
Wolves are level, Everton 1. Wolves 1 with 22 minutes on the clock. They don't score many, but if Julian Lopetegui is going to get them playing like this, they're going to score many more goals, because it's a delightful cross into the box after Everton failed to properly deal with a corner, and Podence drifted in at the back post and slid it past Pickford from close range. 22 minutes gone. Full commentary this one over on Talksport 2. It's Everton 1, Wolves 1.
And we're midway through this first half here at the King Power Stadium on Talksport. Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 2. Early strikes, Wood from the penalty spot against his old club, and Almiron in the form of his life doubling the lead. More live football to come. Don't forget, we've got Aston Villa against Liverpool at 5:30 on Talksport following this game, with Adrian, Adam Bridge and Stuart Pearce. Leicester coming forward again down the right-hand side, but Dan Burn hooks the ball back over his head to clear it. Perez, though, good tigerish work to win the ball for Leicester, and eventually they get a throw down the right-hand side, and they wanted to take it quickly, and they're forced to go back to the halfway line. Amate squares the ball for Fass just at the edge of the centre circle, keeps the ball away from Wood, tries to play it through the legs of Longstaff, and it's just won back by Newcastle, who are trying to release Almiron down the right-hand side. Thomas wins a header, and then a little half volley pass back to Danny Ward, the keeper, from Wout Fass. And it's 1-1 between Wycombe and Bristol Rovers in League One. Wycombe level through David Wheeler, and 2-0 to Newcastle here. And again, a short pass from Samare that Dewsbury Hall did well to get to stop Newcastle nicking the ball inside the Leicester half, but a long ball downfield is straight to the grateful Nick Pope, who can pick the ball up and just roll the ball to Sven Botman. 2-0 Newcastle lead.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Leicester side now, and Yuri Tielemans needs to do more, in my opinion. You know, just to find the space, just to get on the ball, because when he gets on the ball, he creates all sorts of problems. You know, he's one of those intelligent players. He just kind of floats. But you know what? As soon as anyone across the defensive four of Leicester gets their head up, he should be the option. If it's Samari driving someone away,
ball in from Trippier into the area. Wood with his back to goal on the left-hand side, tried to guide it down with his chest to Sean Longstaff, and it's actually hit against Longstaff by Thomas, and Leicester have a free kick. I mentioned Aston Villa Liverpool is live at 5:30 on Talksport. Straight after that, we'll be off to the Emirates. Arsenal against West Ham. Dan Windle will be your host there. Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin. Meantime, we've got a double header of EFL games on Talksport 2. 5:15. Cardiff QPR. I'll break off for a moment as Patson Daka picks the ball up middle of the Newcastle half, drives towards the edge of the area. Challenged by Botman. No free kick given, says Jared Gillett. And we play on. Leicester have the ball back just inside the Newcastle half. Dewsbury Hall, heavy touch, and then Wood steps in, and out comes Nick Pope just outside his area to prevent the corner kick. You thought that was a foul?
It's a free kick, no matter how you want to look at it. You know, Jared Gillett there, he's up with speed, up with play. You know, Patson Daka's got in front of his man. He's running into the box. There's contact in behind him. When I look at it on the monitor just now, yeah, it's a free kick. It's a free kick, no matter how you want to look at it. There's contact.
Yeah, I was mentioning Cardiff QPR at 5:15 on Talksport 2 in the EFL, and then at 7:45 also on Talksport 2. Luton Town against Norwich City. Norwich under a bit of pressure. Certainly Dean Smith is at the moment, the way things are. And of course, every Premier League game today, and of course tomorrow and Wednesday as the Premier League week continues, exclusively live to the Talksport network. We have games ongoing here. Leicester 0, Newcastle 2, 1-1 over on Talksport 2 between Everton and Wolves with Mark Wilson and Dean Saunders, and Crystal Palace, Fulham and Southampton Brighton also live on the Talksport app. But here on Talksport, 26 minutes gone. And a goal in the Championship at the Riverside. Talksport's Graham Courtney.
And it's Middlesbrough 1, Wigan 0, and the Borough deserving this one as well. The ball's floated into the area, and it's a swivel volley has gone in by Marcus Forss. Great goal. Borough 1, Wigan 0.
Dan Burn for Newcastle. Just attacking towards the halfway line, dispossessed by Perez, but only at the expense of a throw for Newcastle United. Eddie Howe has never won a Boxing Day game in 5 attempts as a manager, but here he is with his team sitting pretty in the East Midlands.
Yeah, and when you say sitting pretty, I think the in-game management is excellent as well. They slow it down. You know, at the minute they've not really ventured into Leicester's half. You know, they can go from back to front with quality, with Chris Wood up there as an outlet.
Now Almiron juggling with the ball on the halfway line. He scored Newcastle's second. Works the ball neatly in field to Longstaff, and then Trippier trying to work it further in field. There were 2 players over, one in Joe Linton who was in acres of space, but Leicester managed to win the ball back. And now Tielemans tries to release Patson Daka away down the right hand side, just holds the ball up, asking for blue shirts to join in with him, clips it to the right hand edge of the box, asking Dewsbury Hall to charge after it. He didn't make it, but the ball has gone out for a throw on the far side to Leicester City that Tielemans wants to take quickly. Daka comes short, about 10 yards from the corner flag. Tielemans tried to keep it in play from the ball back to him, but it's out. Newcastle have the ball back with a throw, and they can relieve a bit of pressure. 27 gone, Leicester 0, Newcastle 2.
Well, he's trying to get involved, Tielemans. You know, a great little ball to Daka. Originally, I think the ball could be released a little bit earlier from Patson Daka to kind of feed Dewsbury Hall. The ball in behind was a little bit too much to do, especially with the likes of Botman and Dan Bunn down that left-hand side. But like you say, they are using the ball better. They're moving it a little bit quicker. But Newcastle are set, aren't they?
That's the voice of Chris Iwelumo, former Wolves striker and Scotland international, on Talksport. You're listening to Leicester 0, Newcastle 2 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Fass, square ball to Amati. The 2 Leicester centre-halves just inside their own half of the field. Then Amati hits it long down the right-hand side, intended for Perez. He might get there second time of asking. He does. Tries to roll the ball away from Willett, but Willett got his foot in, and Newcastle have it back. Samari intercepts for Leicester just over the halfway line. Now Dewsbury Hall. The ball makes its way eventually via a ricochet out to Perez on the right-hand side. It's all a bit harum-scarum from Leicester City when they have the ball. They don't appear to have the composure that Newcastle have when they're passing. but they can still cut Newcastle open. They've had their moments. They trail 2-0. Barnes plays the ball in field to Daka, gives it back to Barnes, who collides with his own man. Daka, as he tried to go down the left-hand side, 2 Leicester players down in a heap, and Newcastle trying to counter is Joe Linton out the left-hand side. Danny Ward's out of his ground, somehow got a foot in and got it out of play. Daka still on the ground, Barnes only just getting to his feet. The referee's noticed, and Daka needs some treatment. But Newcastle were not to care that there were 2 Leicester players down. They were trying to counter-attack, 2-0 up.
Danny Ward knew, I think, that after a split second that he'd made the wrong decision, trying to come out there in a foot race with Joe Linton down that left-hand side. In fairness, he was a very lucky man. Joe Linton took a poor touch, and he managed to kind of intercept it, steer it out anyway. But he must have been sweating there. He's done well to intercept that one. But coming together with Barnes and Patson Daka, it was difficult, very tight area. Tried to kind of little give and go, wasn't to be.
Daka's back on his feet. Salford 1, Barrow 0 in League 2. Blackpool lead at Hull City by a goal to 0. Sonny Carey. And in that massive battle at the bottom of League 2, the 2 sides in the relegation zone. Gillingham 0, Colchester 1 is the current scoreline, and Grimsby have equalised at Harrogate. That's now 1 apiece, also in League 2. Here in the Premier League, exclusive to Talksport, half an hour gone. Ian Danter and Chris Owellamo with you. Leicester City 0, Newcastle 2. Newcastle, as it stands, going second in the Premier League table, albeit having played 2 games more than Manchester City. Poor headed clearance from Fass, straight to Longstaff. Almiron tries to play it back to Longstaff, deflected away from him. Trippier will try and protect the ball, will he? He's actually won a corner by backheeling it into Harvey Barnes, whose momentum took the ball over the dead ball line. Corner Newcastle, 2-0 up.
Again, just Trippier, good quality, isn't it? There's no chases everything. He never really had many options there, but like you say, good little bit of quality, wins Newcastle a corner,
which Trippier will take from the right-hand side at the south stand end. Holds aloft his right arm. Jolinton around the penalty spot. 1 or 2 Newcastle players around Danny Ward. It's whipped in by Trippier to the far post. Jolinton! 3-0! Such a firm header and unmarked to power a header past Danny Ward. Newcastle are completely on top here. Brendan Rodgers must be wondering what on earth is going on. Too much Christmas pud for the Leicester players. But it's another gift handed to Newcastle United. Just over half an hour gone. Joe Linton powers home the header from Trippier's corner, and it's Leicester 0, Newcastle 3.
Well, it's a fantastic header, isn't it? I need to see this again. I thought both Joe Linton's arms were on the back of the Leicester player. I don't know if it was a martyr phase there, but again, it was there was no. You read the body language of the player. There was no real argument against it. You know, there's not much in it. You know, on the back of Sumari it was there, but it's a great header, fantastic ball in, all the pace, just steer it goalwards, make sure you hit the target with it. It's always going to be a difficult one for Danny Ward there to try and get a hand on.
So 3 goals here for Newcastle without reply, and a goal at Selhurst Park in the Premier League. Talksport's Jake Robson.
31 on the clock. It's Palace 0, Fulham 1. Deckled over Reed with the goal. Mitrovic back into the side. He turned provider. A nice whipped in cross, and it was flicked in past a hapless Guaita by Deckled over Reed. Palace 0, Fulham 1.
So we're back underway at the King Power Stadium. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3 on Talksport. Joe Linton with the third, and only his 2nd goal of the season, but of course he's not a striker anymore. He's a re-energised midfielder. A little bit of afters between Willock and Tielemans, just shy of the halfway line after a free kick went Leicester's way, and Jared Gillett just asking for a bit of calm from the Leicester City number 8 Tielemans, who will have this free kick eventually. Just received the ball in field, and then Willett just barged into him chest to chest, and Tielemans took exception to it.
Yeah, don't mind that at all, Ian. You know, I think Willock, it was obstruction, there was a coming together, and then Yuri Tielemans just reacts, tries to kind of chase after the ball, puts a little bit of kind of pressure on the back of Willock there.
Jolinton sends Willock away down the left-hand side. Wood's the only Newcastle player in the area at the moment. Willock holds it up, left-hand side, looks for Byrne. Byrne keeps the ball away from Perez, gives it back to Willock down that far left-hand touchline. Ball ricochets away back into the path of Sven Botman. Botman just rolls his foot on the ball and passes back to halfway, and Cher, he gives it back to Botman, square to his left. Ball rolled through to Wood. Heavy touch from Wood allowed Sumare to win it back, although illegally so, says the referee. Free kick to Newcastle United just ahead of the centre circle. The Magpies are 3-0 up here on Talksport.
Yeah, I'm not having that as a free kick. I have to be convinced. Otherwise, you know, very light. I think Gary Gillett was positionally excellent, but again, too soft. But the reaction from Leicester is it's not been good enough. You know, I think the quality is it's not been creating clear-cut chances. You know, they're seeing quite a lot of the ball in defensive middle third, breaks down in that attacking third, and that's when it's got to improve.
They're coming forward again, Newcastle. Almiron this time approaching the right-hand corner of the area, cuts infield on his left. Little square ball for Guimaraes, who tried to turn it back round the corner for Almiron. Leicester smuggle it clear, but it's won back on halfway by Fabian Schär, and so often Newcastle are first to the all-important balls out of defence.
Well, that's the thing. I think without the ball, they make sure that they go and hunting numbers, but it's that second ball that they're always contesting. It's so competitive. Even now, they've gave the ball away, but look at them.
Oh, Dewsbury Hall with a heavy touch, and the ball just ricochets away. Although Patson Daka there quickly, but dispossessed by Botman. Goal in the Championship at Bramall Lane. Talksport's Alan Biggs.
There's Sheffield United 1, Coventry 0. James McAtee is the scorer, but the real hero of the goal, breaking away from what was a Coventry corner. Iliman Ndiaye, a mercurial talent. His run, his pass, and a lovely calm side foot from McAtee. Sheffield United 1, Coventry 0.
Ball's out of play for a Newcastle throw, but Chris Wood felt he was, in fact Longstaff rather felt he was clattered into unfairly by Wout Faes, but he got the ball. Ball went out for a throw, taken by Newcastle. Longstaff back on his feet. And despite the fact that they're 3-0 up, Jason Tyndall still very animated next to Eddie Howe in the Newcastle United technical area. Brendan Rodgers, hands in pockets, much more solemn. Trying to wonder where on earth this first half has got away from Leicester City as Newcastle hit a raking ball from Schär out to Joe Linton down the left-hand side of the Leicester penalty area, being held up by Castagna, plays it back in field. Guimaraes takes aim from about 25 yards out. It's a weak effort and comfortably held by Danny Ward. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3.
It would have been needing something very special from there.
Another goal in the Premier League. This one's at St Mary's. Talksport Ian Abrahams.
It's Southampton 0, Brighton 2. Not the first game in charge at home. Nathan Jones wanted 10 minutes before half-time. Lovely ball in from the left-hand side this time. I think it's Perro who's bundled it into his own net. Bazunu couldn't reach it in the 6-yard line, and behind him anyway was Solly March, who surely would have scored anyway. It's Southampton 0, Brighton 2. It's live on the Talksport app.
And there's a red card at Selhurst Park as well. Talksport Jake Robson.
34 on the clock. Palace 0, Fulham 1. It's Tyrek Mitchell who has been shown a straight red by referee Andy Madley. A late studs. He left them in really on Kenny Tetty. Tetty just got to the ball before him, and his studs Mitchell came over the top, caught him on the ankle. Straight red card for the left back. Palace in all sorts of trouble. Palace 0, Fulham 1.
Samare trying to win the ball in midfield, but Leicester lose out, although good covering from his midfield partner to allow Leicester to win it back, and then Vass went in on Trippier. Bit of afters between the two of them, and then one back by Daka. Good strong challenge against Guimaraes inside the Newcastle half of the field. Lovely quick feet from Yuri Tielemans. Strokes it up to Daka at the edge of the area, trying to get the ball out of his feet, and that allowed the retreating Botman to toe poke it behind for a corner kick to Leicester City away to our left. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3.
Yeah, fantastic bit of quality from Yuri Tielemans again. Close control and that distribution into Daka. His touch needs to be a little bit tighter. Can he kind of open up, get the shot away there, but it was intercepted from Sven Botman there.
So a corner from the right-hand side for Yuri Tielemans. Up goes Fast with a head. He can't connect with it. It's headed away by Joe Linton, back doing defending. And now away down the left-hand side goes Almiron for Newcastle United, but he's running to Perez and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3. It's been really high tempo stuff here at the King Power, Chrissy Williams.
No, it has. You know, I think Leicester have shown good quality in that defensive and middle third, but Newcastle from back to front throughout the team, just good energy, isn't it? Using the ball. I think defensively very, very sound. You know, taking responsibility, doubling up when they have to without the ball. I think they hunt in packs a little bit better. More organisation without the ball for sure.
Goals in League 2, Carlisle lead Bradford by a goal to 0, and Swindon 1 up against Walsall at the County Ground here at the King Power. Leicester City 0, Newcastle 3. One heck of a first half from Newcastle, but here come Leicester again with 7 minutes to half-time. Daka leading the charge, going through the centre of the field. What a challenge though to win it back by Chris Wood, getting back to his own half and defending. But it's won back by Soumare for Leicester City. Boubakary Soumare gives it back to Daniel Amate. Amate puts his foot on the ball, looking for an option, not much movement ahead of him, so he squares the ball to Tielemans, who stayed inside his own half. Poor pass from him, intercepted comfortably by Almiron on halfway, and Newcastle might try and counter at pace here. Almiron gets it back, right hand side, little flick down the right hand side of the box, intended for Longstaff, but he didn't read it, so it was won instead by Amate. And then the ball down the left hand side, intended for Dewsbury Hall from Barnes, and eventually goes out of play right in front of Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall, and the throw has been given Leicester City's way. Meantime, goal at Deepdale in the Championship. Talksport's John Dunn.
Preston 1, Huddersfield 0. Ched Evans, the goal scorer, rising high at the near post from a Ben Whiteland corner on the left into the near post. 6 in his last 5 Championship games. Preston 1, Huddersfield 0.
Greg Cunningham, who's been injured so often in his time at Preston North End in the form of his life, much like Miguel Almiron, with a goal he scored today for 8 in his last 9 appearances. That was the second of Newcastle's 3. Another misplaced pass from Leicester, this time by Luke Thomas on this near side, trying to get Barnes away, but just passed into fresh air, and it goes out of play for a Newcastle throw, 3-0.
Yeah, you can see the frustration there. I think Luke Thomas, he has the idea. I do think Barnes has to be running in behind. You know, obviously he wants to come to feet as well, get faced up with Trippier and take him on, but there was so much space in behind, and it's one of those things drilled into Luke Thomas, young lad. Can you go with quality into that left flank area?
That's Chris Llewellyn alongside me, Ian Danter here at the King Power Stadium, where there's plenty of empty seats from Leicester fans who've immediately decided to go down to the concourses and get a pint at half time. There's free food and drink on offer today, courtesy of the board, but that's not going to placate too many of the Leicester fans, who will not be happy with what they've seen. They're 3-0 down to a rampant Newcastle United. Ipswich lead Oxford by a goal to 0 in League One. Freddie Ladapo with the opener. And Rochdale 0, Hartlepool 1 in League 2. Suspicion of handball against Castagna, nothing doing, says referee Jared Gillett, and Wout Faes bring the ball forward up to halfway, but just runs into a brick wall of Newcastle defenders, and it's won back. And Newcastle have it in their left-back position. It's currently Leicester 0, Newcastle 3, and for the latest odds, head to Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Leicester to win at 125 to 1, the draw 30 to 1, Newcastle 80 to 1 on. Down the left-hand side of the box, Newcastle coming forward with Willett, gets it through to Wood, and puts it over the bar and just onto the roof of the net. Had all the time in the world to stroke it goalwards there, Chris Wood, but he couldn't connect, and it's over the bar for a goal kick. Those odds, by the way, all thanks to Betfair, 18 plus, begambleaware.org. 3 minutes plus added time to half-time, and I bet Brendan Rodgers can't wait to get his players back into the dressing room for a bit of a dressing down.
Yeah, it needs to happen as well, doesn't it? It's a great little ball. Now Wood will be disappointed with that one. Knew that he had so much space in the 18-yard box. Just the connection, you were right when you called. It wasn't a bad ball from Willock, the little cut back, but just make sure you want the goalkeeper there. You know, you hit the target.
Ball's back with Nick Pope, the Newcastle goalkeeper, one of the 150 players who didn't get a single minute of action at the World Cup with the respective squads. And the ball breaks on halfway, and it's Longstaff charging over that halfway, plays it infield to the centre circle for Wood, sent further out to the right hand side for Trippier. Trippier spots the run of Longstaff, tries to nod it down for Wood, who tried to get onto the second ball, breaks at the edge of the area, and that's good protection of the ball by Soumare, and he brings it clear for Leicester and finds Barnes on this near side. Superb first touch from Barnes to get the ball away from Trippier, but then back came Almiron to help out his fullback and win the ball back for Newcastle. And then a push by Trippier on Luke Thomas on this near side gives a free kick to Leicester City. Port Vale 1, Morecambe 0 meantime in League 1. Gavin Massey with the opener for the Valiants. 3-0 hit to Newcastle.
Yeah, it was a fantastic bit of quality from Harvey Barnes there, just lifting it over Trippier, leaving him for dust. But like you say, Miguel Almiron doing that defensive duty, going way past his full back and defensively getting in front of Barnes.
More live football to come later. Aston Villa Liverpool at 5:30 on Talksport with Adrian Durham, who's there. You'll hear him at half-time in this game as well. Adam Bridge and Stuart Pearce alongside Adrian. And then at 8 o'clock on Talksport, Arsenal against West Ham, a London derby at the Emirates Stadium, and a double-header of Championship football on Talksport 2 around the same time. 5:15 they're underway at the Cardiff City Stadium for Cardiff QPR, and then 7:45 Luton against Norwich City. 3-0 to Newcastle. We're into the last minute of normal time plus whatever the referee Gillett wants to add on at the end of this first half. There have been 1 or 2 stoppages, and it's the Newcastle fans you can hear singing "Please Don't Take Me Home." Share in possession for the away side. Plays the ball into the feet of Guimaraes, who collects the ball from Botman a second time. Just drifts towards the halfway line. A few blue shirts around him, but he just comfortably passes out left to Byrne. Then it's spread from left to right by Newcastle. Trippier will eventually work the ball back to his goalkeeper Pope, who clatters it downfield first time of asking, but it won't reach a Newcastle player. It's chested down neatly by Thomas, knowing he had all the time in the world to bring it down. Tielemans inside his own half, looks for Bas, but well intercepted by Trippier. But Tielemans wins it back off Willock. Good strength from the Belgian. Square ball for Amate, who can advance up to the halfway line with the ball at his feet. Now releases Castagna, does he, down the right-hand side? Showed too much of that to Joe Linton, and he just toe-poked it out of play for a throw. And we're into added time at the end of this first half, and it'll be 3 minutes of minimum added time here at the King Power. 3 goals separate the sides, and they've all gone the way of Newcastle United. Now Kiernan Dewsbury Hall wins a throw almost level with the edge of the Newcastle box down the left-hand side. The near side to us as Leicester attacking the north stand in this first half of the King Power. Thomas will take the throw all the way back to Fass. Fass has got Amate just backwards to square in the centre circle. He has the ball, faced up by Wood. Now it's out to the left-hand side, the near side to us, and Thomas. Dewsbury Hall tried to turn and take the ball with him, but couldn't do so. And instead Newcastle have it back midway point of their own half with Joe Willock. Now Byrne sends it up to Joe Linton. A neat ball in field for Guimaraes. Just waited for Daka to come to him and then release the ball back to Botman. Tranmere 1, Doncaster 0 in League 2. Tranmere no win in 10, but Kane Hemmings gives them the lead at Prenton Park late on in the first half. Notts County 3, Oldham 1 in the National League. And they're cheering every pass at the moment, Newcastle fans. Here is Fabian Schär playing a ball up to halfway, guided down by Wood, intended for Almiron, but intercepted by Fass. We played a minute of the minimum 3. What have Leicester got left in this first half? Tielemans, not sure what he was trying to do. He collected the ball in the centre of the Newcastle half and tried to flick it forwards, but Daka wasn't making a forward run. He was caught on his heels, and the ball just trickled through to Nick Pope. 3-0 Newcastle.
Yeah, they were too close to each other there. You know, great little bit of quality. He was found well, good little run through the middle from Yuri Tielemans there, but yeah, you know, I think Daka, all he seen was the back of Daka, and he's trying to flick it forward to him there. But Newcastle at the minute, you know, I think are probably using the ball a lot better defensively. I think in possession, just keeping patient with it, and then all of a sudden when they do go forward with quality, they go forward in numbers. There's an opportunity at the end of it.
I like your use of the back of Daka there, by the way. That was great. Chris Uwelamo alongside me, Ian Danta at the King Power Stadium, approaching half-time, in added time. Newcastle 3-0 up and hungry for more. Joe Linton, left-hand corner of the box, tries to play a 1-2. Good interception by Castagna in the nick of time. Barnes has it, can't get the ball out from under his feet. Newcastle just win it back. They're showing such great strength to win the ball high up the pitch. Trippier plays the ball down the right-hand side of the box, looking for the run of Almiron, but he's well marshalled by Luke Thomas, and it's out of play for a goal kick. 1-1 between Swindon and Walsall. Walsall equalise at the county ground. And we're approaching half-time here. Rotherham 1, Stoke 0. An own goal from Jordan Thompson puts Rotherham ahead in one of the 6 3 o'clock games in the Championship today. Goal kick to Leicester City. Driven downfield. We're into the final minute of the minimum 3 that have been added on here. Ball's out of play. Just won't break for Leicester with these balls downfield. Trippier can just let the ball run across his body, and out of play for a throw. And in fact, that signals the end of the first half. Boos around the King Power for the Blues, because Leicester City are right under pressure, and they were under pressure from moment 1 in this game. Daniel Amate had a minute and a half to forget, and at the end of those 90 seconds he'd given away a penalty, bringing down Joe Linton. And Chris Wood, the former Fox, who scored 20 goals here for Leicester, punished that foul with the penalty kick straight down the middle. 2-0 after another lovely 1-2 move at the edge of the area. Almiron with 8 goals in 9 appearances, slipping the ball confidently past the keeper into the side netting for 2-0. And then Joe Linton with a powerful header from a corner from Trippier from the right-hand side. Leicester just do not know what's hit them. Newcastle, as it stands, going second in the Premier League table at the break at the King Power Stadium. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3.
Well, that was dominance from Newcastle in that first half, and they've made it count with 3 goals, a commanding lead. And as Dan says, their position by the end of the day in the Premier League could be something to behold. What a way to return after the World Cup break. No Callum Wilson, no problem. Chris Wood with the first, Miguel Almiron with the second, Joe Linton with the third, all with James Maddison watching on from the stands. Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 3. At half-time live here on Talksport. The rest of the 3 o'clock Premier League games are all available on the Talksport network. Everton Wolves on Talksport 2 on the app. Southampton Brighton and Crystal Palace against Fulham. Let's get half-time at Goodison. First of all, Everton against Wolves. Matt Jones.
And it's Everton 1, Wolves 1. The Blues took the lead after just 7 minutes. Yerry Mina, a welcome return to the side for him. His first Premier League start, his first Premier League appearance since the opening day of the season. And he drifted in unmarked to head home from McNeil's corner on the right-hand side. The lead didn't last too long, though. 15 minutes later, Wolves equalised with their first shot of the game. Opponents, again, someone drifting into space completely unnoticed. Martinez with the clip cross, and Podence sliding it past Jordan Pickford. Since then, Everton really should have retaken the lead. Costa had a header save first for Wolves, but then 2 terrific chances for the Blues, the best of them falling to Anthony Gordon, but he couldn't convert past Sarr after being fed in by Gay, and then Mope shooting straight at the keeper just before the break as well after an error from Collins. Both these defences look very suspect, and I suspect despite the kind of meagre return of goals from both these sides so far this season, there might be more to come. But at the break, it is Everton 1, Wolves 1, and you can get full commentary of this one on Talksport 2.
Some late goals in the first half in the National League. Maidenhead now 2 apiece at Wealdstone. Wrexham have taken the lead in their game. Ollie Palmer with it. They lead by a goal to nil. Notts County are 4-1 up in their game. All the half-times coming up. Let's head to St Mary's. What's the score at the break there? Ian Abrahams.
Southampton 0, Brighton 2. Brighton good value for this. It could have been more. And Southampton, to be fair, who were booed off at half-time. Nathan Jones has a massive half-time team talk in his first home game in charge. 14 minutes on the clock with Solly March cross from the right-hand side for Adam Lallana against Old Club to definitely head home and put Brighton to a lead they thoroughly deserved. 2-0 10 minutes before half-time. Estupiñán down the left-hand side with a ball low into the middle. Under pressure from Solly March, Roman Perro put it into his own net after the goalkeeper Bazunu had completely missed it. It could have been 3 before half-time. Mitrova put the ball in the middle as well for Solly March, but this time he couldn't convert from close range. A Ward-Prowse free kick just wide is about as good as it got for Southampton, who haven't been very good. It's live on the Talksport app in the second half, Adrian, and Southampton need to score next. Southampton 0, Brighton 2.
Also live on the Talksport app is Palace Fulham at Selhurst Park. What's happened in the first half? Talksport's Jake Robson.
Palace 0, Fulham 1. A bit of a post-Christmas nightmare for the home side so far. It was fairly even until the 31st minute when they conceded. But they twice gave the ball away in succession and then punished when Mitrovic, back in the side after passing a late fitness test, put in a superb cross. But all it needed was the lightest flick from De Cordova-Reid in the middle, who gladly obliged. Just 3 later, Palace were down to 10 men. Mitchell got to the ball a fraction after Tete, but the result was studs into the ankle of the Fulham right-back and a straight red shown by referee Andy Madley. That was about as bad as it got for Palace. That seemed to kick-start them, though. They showed some promise in the following 10 minutes. They didn't get closer than Elise blazing wide, though. The second half is live on the Talksport app. It's Palace 0, Fulham 1.
Let's get into the Championship half-times there. First of all, Bramall Lane, Talksport's Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 1, Coventry 0. A really awkward first half for Sheffield United, who can go level with Burnley at the top if they win. On course, yes, but rivalling the goal as a first half highlight. A terrific tackle by Ahmed Hodzic to thwart Victor Gyökeres. The goal itself, a brilliant break downfield by Iliman Ndiaye, and a very composed side foot finish from James McAtee. Half-time, Sheffield United 1, Coventry 0.
Half-time at Deepdale as well in the Championship. Talksport's John Dunn.
And it's Preston 1, Huddersfield 0. The goal 10 minutes before the end of the half, and confusion over the scorer. Ched Evans certainly claimed it, but maybe Greg Cunningham got the final touches. Both rose at the near post with a downward header that squeezed between post and goalkeeper. It was Ben Whiteman's left wing cross that created the havoc. Preston came close on 26 minutes. Ben Woodburn with a thrilling volley from just outside the area, fizzing over the bar. But at the break, it's Preston 1, Huddersfield 0.
That's half time at the Riverside for Talksport's Graham Courtney.
Where it's Middlesbrough 1, Wigan 0. Best early chance actually going to Wigan. Nathan Broadhead and Will Keane. Lovely give and go, really. Ended up with a snapshot from Broadhead. Terrific save by Zach Steffen. That's the American goalkeeper on loan at the Borough from Man City. But in the 26th minute, deadlock broken. Terrific build-up work by Duncan Watmore. He's fit again and found the Finnish player, Marcus Finns, who finished nicely for his third goal of the season. Middlesbrough 1, Wigan 0.
Half time at Ashton Gate in the Championship. Here's Talksport's Lawrence Moore.
Bristol City 1, Bristol City 0, West Brom 1. The Baggies probably just about deserving of their lead in a strange sort of way. The goal came when Matt Phillips raced away down the left channel, finished into the far corner of the net. Only 9 minutes on the clock when he struck. The home team, though, seen Tommy Conway stopped twice by brilliant saves by Palmer. City caused O'Shea to head against his bar, but defensively, the home teams are absolutely shambolic. At the break, Bristol City 0, West Brom 1.
This is Game Day. Half-time classifieds.
In the Premier League, a result from earlier live on Talksport. It finished Brentford 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. These are half-times: Palace 0, Fulham 1, Everton 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 3, Southampton 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Villa Liverpool here at Villa Park, 5:30 kick-off live on Talksport. And straight after this is done, Arsenal West Ham is an 8 o'clock kick-off again live and exclusive on Talksport. Championship results from earlier: Watford 0, Millwall 2, Sunderland 2, Blackburn 1. These are half-times now: Bristol City 0, West Bromwich Albion 1, Hull City 0, Blackpool 1, Middlesbrough 1, Wigan 0, Preston 1, Huddersfield 0, Rotherham 1, Stoke City 0, Sheffield United 1, Coventry 0, Cardiff QPR's at 5:15, Luton Norwich is at 7:45. They're both live on Talksport 2. In League 1, Accrington Stanley 0, Barnsley 1, Burton 3, Lincoln 0, Cambridge United 0, Shrewsbury 0, still playing in the first half there, Charlton 0, Peterborough 0, Cheltenham 0, Plymouth 0, Exeter 0, Portsmouth 0, Fleetwood 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Ipswich 2, Oxford United 0, MK Dons 0, Forest Green 0, Port Vale 1, Morecambe 0, Wickham 1, Bristol Rovers 1. In League 2, Wimbledon 0, Newport 0, Carlisle 1, Bradford 0, Crawley 0, Sutton 0, Gillingham 0, Colchester 1, Harrogate 1, Grimsby 1, Mansfield 0, Northampton 0, Rochdale 0, Hartlepool 1, Salford 1, Barrow 0, Stockport 0, Crewe 0, Swindon 1, Walsall 1, Tranmere 1, Doncaster 0. In the National League, Aldershot 0, Woking 1, Altrincham 0, FC Halifax Town 1, Barnet 0, Boreham Woods 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Maidstone United 0, Dorking 0, Eastleigh 1, Notts County 4, Oldham 1, Scunthorpe 1, Chesterfield 1, Southend 0, Bromley 0, Torquay 1, Yeovil 0, Wiltston 2, Maidenhead 2, Wrexham 1, Solihull Moors 0, and York City 0, Gateshead 1.
Game Day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. We search a panel of lenders to find you the best deal. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
When you bet fair this festive season, you get daily rewards. Like on Boxing Day, the sport lovers' Christmas. A full day of Premier League games and top Grade 1 racing. Get a completely free £2 multiple off bet builder on any sport this Boxing Day. Big daily rewards on big days like Boxing Day with Betfair.
Min combined odds of 1.5. Must have previously deposited. Eligibility criteria and T's and C's apply. 18+ begambleaware.org.
Ho, ho, hold your horses. Reindeers, glitter baubles have just got some winner Christmas dinner lunches. Breakfast for you. With the McDonald's Big Tasty with Bacon, Domino's Ultimate Spicy Sausage Pizza, Costa Coffee Gingerbread Latte, Pizza Express Snowball Dough Balls, plus more from Greg's, Queen's Cafe, Starbucks, and Five Guys. So fill your buckled elf boots, stocking, sleigh today. Christmas, we got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Product subject to availability in restaurant and serving times. Participating stores only. See justeat.co.uk for details.
What does Asahi Super Dry taste like? Crisp, refreshing, and always super dry. A taste as unexpected and surprising as modern Japan. That's right, Japan's #1 beer. Asahi Super Dry, beyond expected. Go to asahisuperdry.com to verify. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk to find out more.
You what? You what? You what? You what? You what? You're not watching the big footy games in a pub and grill fan zone at Village Hotels? Who are ya? Premier League and big games on giant screens, stadium seats, great lineup of beers, and dirty burgers and bar snacks to tackle. Plus, win big game tickets, beer for a year, and other great prizes. Visit villagehotels.com/Talksport. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Always drink responsibly. Who are ya?
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. In December, we've got 10% off the trade price of our range of Type 11, 21 and 22 radiators. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%.
The new season is here, and The Times on Saturday has all the big interviews, insightful analysis, and stats you need to set you up for a perfect weekend of Premier League action. Subscribe today at thetimes.co.uk/football for provocative and compelling opinions from the best sports writers in the business, including James Gibbrandt, Owen Slott, and the voice of football, Henry Winter.
Lovely bit of football.
Try it free for 1 month at thetimes.co.uk/football. News at £26 a month unless cancelled. T's and C's apply.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with a Now Sports membership. Stream the Premier League live without a contract from $11.99. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Game day. A broadcasting dynamo of supercharged Premier League football coverage.
Touch it at the near post.
Game Day Live.
Boxing Day special on Talksport.
You're listening to TalkSport, all 10 Boxing Day 27th and 28th fixtures in the Premier League, live and exclusive across the TalkSport network. You'll be needing the TalkSport app. Download it for free. It's easy to use. The first of the 10 was at lunchtime. It was live and exclusive on TalkSport. Brentford were 2 up. Kane and Højbjerg made it 2-2. Kane hit the bar late on it. Finished all square. What a way to resume the Premier League. Let's hear from both managers and Antonio Conte in a moment. First up, the Brentford boss, Thomas Frank.
I'm glad that we pick up the pace and then continued very well today. It's a strong group of players. They have a special bond, and we try to add layers. And I'm glad the performance was good again today. I think that's very, very important. And if you can't win, get a point. And I know that we are such a threat to play against here.
In one side, I'm happy for our reaction, for the way that we played in the second part of the game, because I think we played with great intensity, with the right desire to create a problem to Brentford, with nasty in every to win duels. In this end, I'm happy. In the other hand, I was not happy to go 1-0 down and then 2-0 down.
Terrific game. Brentford 2, Spurs 2. Chris Owelamo at Leicester. Listen, there's no World Cup hangover, no 0-0 draws, goals everywhere.
No, that's what it's all about. You know, I've been sat here waiting at home for these games to start, and they've been not disappointed at all, Adrian. Fantastic quality.
Absolutely. Newcastle about to go second.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? You know, I think both teams, both managers, both fans wouldn't have wanted the World Cup break to come, but they've come back. They've started well with the EFL Cup, both into the quarter-finals, but today was massive. Big players are missing, in my opinion. James Maddison, I understand it, right? It's an opportunity to go. If there's a 5% chance that he can play some minutes, get fit, he has to go. But for the fact that he's not on the team sheet, not available for selection, that's an error, in my opinion. Callum Wilson, I understand it. A little bit of an illness, but again, he's going to come back. He would have felt really involved over the, even though he never played so many minutes, but the confidence will be through the roof. So I'm disappointed that I've not seen both today.
Well, Maddison's a weird one. He's there watching. He posted from Dubai on Instagram last week. He was on holiday, hasn't played at the World Cup. A very strange one. Listen, if it is an injury, a knee injury, then fair enough, but it's a very odd one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, Adrian, it's an opportunity for a player to go out there and be involved, and he's been there or thereabouts, and then all of a sudden been ignored for 18 months. So I understand from the manager's point of view, the club's point of view, from letting him going away, if there was a chance that he gets fit and plays minutes. But if he's not going to be available for this Boxing Day game in the Premier League, he should not have went.
Well, I do wonder if there's a clause in his contract says he's not allowed to play for the club he's about to join next month. We shall see.
Very true.
Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 3. I do hope at half-time somebody's told Leicester they're allowed to join in as well. Live on Talksport, let's get the second half with Chris Owelamo and your commentator Ian Danton.
Well, I tell you what, they've decided, Brendan Rodgers and his management team, to make a change at the start of the second half. And it's Jamie Vardy, who's failed to score in all of his previous Boxing Day Premier League appearances, who has come on to replace Patson Daka, who might count himself a little unlucky to be substituted at half-time, but that's what Brendan Rodgers has decided. We're back underway. Leicester in all blue will be attacking the south stand away to our right in this second half. A quick run through their lineup. Ward in goal, Castagna, Amate, Fass and Thomas, Tielemans and Soumare. Pratt went off and was replaced by Perez. So Perez, Dewsbury Hall and Barnes behind Vardy. For Newcastle, Pope the keeper, Trippier, Scher, Botman and Byrne at the back, Sean Longstaff, Guimaraes and Willett in midfield, Almiron, Wood and Joe Linton up front. What do you make of that change, Chris Uwelemo?
No, I don't mind it at all. You know, I think very similar players. I think obviously Jamie Vardy asking that question in behind. So can Leicester, with the quality they've got in midfield, get the head up?
Well, here's Perez trying to get his head up and send the ball down the left-hand side of the box to try and find Harvey Barnes, but he couldn't collect the pass at the left-hand corner of the area. Newcastle bring it away.
So unlike Harvey Barnes there, you know, Perez finds him well, good pace on the ball. He wants to take his touch goalwards, but he tries to take it with the outside of his right, and it stunts and drops behind him. Very unlike Harvey Barnes, but like you say, good quality, good energy, busting forward, the lot of blue shirts there.
Dewsbury Hall on halfway, hooks the ball into the Newcastle half. Vardy on that far left-hand touchline wins a throw. So Jamie Vardy, 168 goals in 10 years as a Leicester player, over 400 appearances. Only one goal in the Premier League this season, though, for Jamie Vardy. That came against Wolves, but he has scored 3 in his last 2 EFL Cup games. So can he repeat what he managed in midweek against Milton Keynes and try and help Leicester back into this? Exclusive Talksport commentary from the Premier League. Don't forget, Everton Wolves just getting underway in the second half, live on Talksport 2. That's at 1-1. And we've got commentaries on the app if you want to catch up with Palace against Fulham. Fulham 1-0 up there. And Southampton Brighton, where Brighton lead by 2-0. 3-0 here to Newcastle. Ball won back on halfway for Leicester by Fass. Tielemans now receives it. Wasn't given the easiest of passes to deal with by Perez. And then Joe Linton is hacked down on halfway by Castagna. Free kick to Newcastle.
That's the difference, Ian. You know, I think Perez there, the ball that he fires to Tielemans after they've won possession of the ball, and that's what it should be, 4 against 4. But because it breaks down, it allows Newcastle to get back, put pressure on it, intercept that ball or win that challenge against Tielemans and regain possession. It has to be more fluent than that, and the Leicester that we know can move the ball well.
So Newcastle's free kick just shy of the halfway line, not towards this near touch line. We're on the same side as the managers and management teams. The TV cameras point out from the other stand opposite us. Trippier's free kick up to the edge of the area, headed into the box, and it looks dangerous for a moment. Ball's bouncing around. Longstaff tries to get a piece of it, volleyed over the top in the end. Desperate attempt by, I think it was Sean Longstaff in the end, or was it Botman who tried to get the effort? It was Botman actually, who tried to get his left foot round it and hacked it horribly over the bar. Leicester goal kick.
Farcical defending again, Fass and was it Soumare there coming together?
They're giving the ball away again. Leicester at the edge of their own area. Amate almost dispossessed. Ball's at the edge of the box. Joe Linton can't win the head. He's beaten to it by Castagna, and Leicester again give the ball away. It's won back by Willock this time. Little backheel pass trying to get Wood away in the area, but out comes Danny Ward to smother. And Leicester trying to play the ball out from the back again. Fass and Soumare playing the ball in tight areas. This time it works out for them.
Well, has it? They haven't gotten anywhere. You know.
Well, Fass has now got it downfield, flicked on by Barnes, trying to get Vardy away, but no, it was a foul. And a goal at the Riverside Stadium in the early stages of the second half in the Championship. Grant Courtney.
And it is Middlesbrough 2, Wigan 0, and it is Chuba Akpom with his 10th goal of the season. Tell you what, Marcus Ford's made the first one, he's made the second one. Brilliant one as well. Akpom with the goal. It's the Borough 2, Wigan 0.
Free kick to Newcastle just shy of the halfway line. They lead Leicester here at the King Power by 3-0. Live and exclusive on Talksport this Boxing Day afternoon as skies darken in the East Midlands. Ball up to the edge of the box. It might break for a Newcastle player inside the area. Botman again was quite far forward, but it skidded away from him and bounced through for Danny Ward. Another dangerous set piece from Newcastle. Leicester now have a free kick in their left back spot. And it's Thomas taking it quickly. Gets it back from Soumare. Now Thomas just hits the ball long downfield. It's over the heads of both Barnes and Vardy. And will just bounce through to Nick Pope as Grimsby Town take a 2-1 lead in League Two. They were behind away at Harrogate. But now they leave Harry Clifton with the Mariners second. Pope throws the ball out to Botman. He gives it back to his goalkeeper, and Vardy just herring after the pair of them, and
he does it well. I think he puts pressure on. He can do it on his own.
Willock for Newcastle United plays the ball out to the right hand side. Strong run from Almiron, but across came the defender, and Luke Thomas put it out of play for a throw to Newcastle United.
I don't think there's any reason for Luke Thomas to go to ground there. I thought he'd read it well. I thought he worked his feet well. But by going to ground, there is only one option. You can only put it out for a throw-in or a corner kick. You stay on your feet there, you get your body between ball and man, and you keep control of the ball.
5 gone in the second half. 3-0 to Newcastle. Penalty at Bramall Lane. Off there in a minute. The ball's just been clipped through. It will go out of play for a goal kick to Leicester. So what's the situation, Alan Biggs?
Sheffield United lead to Coventry 1-0, but Coventry with a big chance to equalise from the penalty spot. Victor Gyökeres, their top scorer, could hit here now. His 12th of the season, but doesn't. It's drilled straight into the midriff of Wes Foderingham. Gets everything behind it. Sheffield United 1, Coventry 0.
Vardy across the face of goal looking for Barnes, just overhit, but Barnes can retrieve it. Left hand side of the area. Played back to the edge of the box. Dewsbury Hall takes a touch, trying to shift his feet and maybe get a shot away. Leaves it for Barnes once more. Plays the ball into the near post. It's headed back straight to Harvey Barnes. Now Thomas takes over inside the box, left hand side. Leicester trying to work the angle. Tielemans and Perez now trying to work it at the edge of the area. Perez keeps the ball alive but has to run away from the penalty area to keep hold of it. And that all started from Jamie Vardy being released down the right hand side and showing his pace that we know he has.
Yeah, he outs that run, his movement's excellent, and like you say, he has a picture and a vision as soon as he receives the ball. It was a great ball across. Harvey Barnes has to do everything to make sure he gets into that back post area there.
So 3-0 to Newcastle. Wickham are now 2-1 up at home to Bristol Rovers, having been behind. A little barge on Jamie Vardy there, is it, from Sven Botman? Nothing doing, says the referee. Joe Linton hits the ball against Tielemans. And then, well, it's going to be a free kick for the foul by Castagna on Sven Botman. Meanwhile, Charlton lead Peterborough by 1-0. Miles Liebunt, son of Carl, having quite a breakthrough season at the Valley. And of course, Dean Holden now the new manager at the Valley. And it's 1-0 to Charlton, and Chrissy Wellermo's just having a look at the replay of that challenge by Castagna on Botman.
Yeah, I think for me it's a free kick for Leicester, for Jamie Vardy there. Sven Botman knows exactly what he's doing, just stunts, and actually it's a dangerous one because Vardy's kind of face, head has went into the back of the shoulder of Sven Botman. But like you say, I think then there is a free kick on Botman that took a sole one to the right ankle.
You're listening to Leicester 0, Newcastle 3 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Newcastle have the ball with Joe Linton on this near side, the left. Ball's hooked up in the air. It will be a Newcastle throw, awarded by the assistant on this near side. The Leicester players were convinced it was their throw, but Byrne will have it. Born in Blythe, of course, in the northeast. One of Eddie Howe's captures since taking charge at Newcastle United. What a terrific servant he's been, playing at left back in a 4. He's played as a left centre back in a 3. Leicester now have a throw in their own right back position. We played 8.5 minutes of the second half, and Leicester give the ball away again in their own defensive third, but tight to this near touchline. Willock is then dispossessed by Castagna, fires it in field to Tielemans. Tielemans just holds the ball up, passes back into his own area for Fass, and then Amate. Amate looks for Sumare at the edge of the area. They're playing the triangles of football to get themselves out of trouble, but it all feels a little on the edge, and they've lost it again. Sumare dispossessed this time. Guimaraes runs in to the centre of the field, went down, felt he was fouled, nothing doing. Leicester try and counter-attack. Perez's ball intended for Barnes down the left-hand side is cut out. And then Newcastle win the ball back again. And Trippier then is pulled as he tried to move in field, and it's a free kick to Newcastle United. 54 minutes gone on Talksport. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3.
Well, every time Leicester got in good possession of the ball, got their head up, they just gave it away again. It was unforced errors. I think Perez to Harvey Barnes, and then Luke Thomas again to Harvey Barnes. Make sure the pass has too much on it, if anything, down the side, over the top, with a little bit more quality.
Blackpool still lead at Hull, but Jordan Thornley's been given a straight red card for the Seasiders. Hull 0, 10-man Blackpool 1. Joe Linton for Newcastle at 3-0 up. Left-hand corner of the Leicester box. He's got help from Willock, who spots on the far right-hand side Kieran Trippier. He guides it down. Chance to work the ball into the box. Oh, Longstaff and Wood were both in there wanting the ball played in, but Leicester got it clear. But the ball up to halfway drifts away from Harvey Barnes and out of play for a throw-in to Newcastle, bang on the halfway line. Still 3-0 to the Geordies. And we have seen on our monitors the traditional topless Newcastle male fan in the away end, although he has got a scarf on, so he's not quite there. Goal at St Mary's in the Premier League. Ian Abrahams.
10 minutes of the second half gone, game over. Southampton 0, Brighton 3. Early in the season, Alexis McAllister was scoring long-range goals, 25, 30 yards out. He's not here, he's still celebrating his World Cup, but who needs him when you've got Solly March? Brilliant effort, 25 yards out, left-footed, no chance Bazunu, no chance Southampton. The rest of the game's on the app. It's a cruise for Brighton. Southampton 0, Brighton 3.
And we have a goal back at Bramall Lane as one in the Championship. Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 2, Coventry 0. It's Kieran Clark with a header from a bewitching, typical Ollie Norwood delivery from a free kick on the right. Clark buries the header. Sheffield United 2, Coventry 0.
Newcastle lead by 3-0 here, live and exclusive on Talksport this Boxing Day afternoon. And they've won a corner at the north stand end to our left-hand side. Joe Linton's just going to leave it for Kieran Trippier. Those two combined for Newcastle's third goal from a corner towards the end of the first half. Tielemans is keeping a close eye on Joe Linton on this occasion as he drifts back to just to the right of the penalty spot. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger from Kieran Trippier. Whips it in. Ward doesn't get there. He came out like Superman and got nowhere near it, but Newcastle can't stab the ball goalwards. Instead, it's out at the edge of the area, and Luke Thomas will try and chip it clear for Leicester. Newcastle win it back just temporarily, and Samare rolls the ball up looking for Ayose Perez. Sticks his foot in bravely, but is dispossessed in the end. Wrexham 2-0 upon Solihull in the National League. Paul Mullin with the second at the racecourse ground. Here at the King Power, Leicester trying to get a foothold in this game. 3-0 down as they are to Newcastle United. Fass giving the ball back to his goalkeeper Ward. He wasn't expecting the pass back, I don't think. Just clonks it first time right-footed. Nowhere near Jamie Vardy or Harvey Barnes. But the header from Newcastle only finds Fass. But Fass with a terrible first touch almost allowed Sean Longstaff to get away. But no foul given. In fact, Guimaraes was the man that went down. And now Leicester try and come away. It's with Thomas. Plays the ball into the edge of the centre circle where it's picked up by Daniel Amate. Comes short now Tielemans just inside his own half. That Fast the Belgian. Gives the ball back to Amate. Newcastle have everybody back behind the ball. Now Fast can drift towards the halfway line. Looking for somebody to come short. That player was Barnes, but he couldn't hold up possession, and Willock brings the ball away for Newcastle. Lovely ball through two Leicester players to allow Joe Linton to get away down the left-hand side. He then treads on the ball, and Leicester win it back. Tielemans just chops the ball in field, but straight onto the grateful chest of Fabian Schär, and Schär can bring the ball forward. Great run from Fabian Schär going all the way through, but then shows too much of that to Danny Ward, and the Leicester keeper can pick it up. Another red card at Selhurst Park this time. Here's Jake Robson.
Another red card, and it's gone again to Palace. Palace 0, Fulham 1:57 on the clock. It's James Tompkins, the man who's replaced the suspended Mark Gahey in the side, no doubt about that. He's been given a second yellow, this one for really an arm across the face and nose of Alexander Mitrovic, who was running through, not on goal, but that's how it's gone. Palace 0, Fulham 1.
Milton Keynes lead Forest Green by 1-0. Mark Jackson in charge, and they lead at Stadium MK. Vardy for the right-hand side, looks for Barnes in front of goal, and it just didn't touch Harvey Barnes' left foot as he tried to guide it in. Dewsbury Hall retrieves it left-hand side. Ball back into the box, headed bravely clear by Schär to keep it away from Harvey Barnes. Back it goes to the halfway line, and Fass. Now Amate has it. Fass again. Looking down the left-hand side for Thomas.
It's an excellent ball in from Jamie Vardy there. Harvey Barnes has to put the head on it for me. I don't understand why he's trying to just steer it in with the instep of his left foot there. You know, the contact that he has to make. All the power was on the cross. Just get your head on it, stick it in one of the corners, job done.
Now Castagna, lovely 1-2 with Perez. He's got space to attack down the right-hand side into the area, pulls it back, and it's put behind by Guimaraes for a corner to Leicester. Goal at the Riverside. Graham Courtney.
Middlesbrough 3, Wigan 0. It is Chuba Akpom with his second of the game. Brilliant goal. Borough 3, Wigan 0.
Corner then for Yuri Tielemans at the south stand end for Leicester as we approach the hour mark on Talksport. Newcastle 3 up. Tielemans corner into the near post, headed out by Joe Linton. Comes out to about the centre of the Leicester half. Thomas is the last man back. He finds Dewsbury Hall. Just drifts away from Trippier for a moment. Out to the left-hand side. Cross deep to the far post. Castagna knocks it down. He was trying to find Harvey Barnes, but Newcastle hack it clear. And the ball breaks on halfway, but Leicester have it back. Oh, lovely drop of the shoulder from Ayose Perez. Tries to chip the ball into the area. Share. Can't find it. Might drop for Harvey Barnes with his back to goal. Claims for handball. Barnes still has it. Tries to run into Botman. And eventually it trickles behind for a corner kick. Newcastle were defending like Leicester were in the first half there, but they survived. But Leicester have a corner.
Yeah, great quality. Jimmy Vardy keeping it alive. Harvey Barnes, he's just trying to kind of orchestrate it so that he can get that shot away. Then Botman and Dan Bunn doing everything, just throwing. Oh, I'll tell you what's a handball in there as well. I don't know if VAR should look at it because.
Well, here comes the corner kick. But the VAR's had a look and just decided not to concern themselves with that handball that Chris Iwelumo mentioned.
Well, it's blatant handball from Sven Botman as well on Harvey Barnes. Just takes it away from him, round about the midriff as well.
Ball's rolled back by Wout Faes to Danny Ward. So an hour gone on Talksport. Leicester still haven't really forced Nick Pope into a meaningful save in this match. And a goal at the Riverside again. Graham Courtney.
It's the outback. He's underway here. It is Borough 3, Wigan 1. Tello Arsgaard. Simple goal, really. Borough undone by pace. Starting at home. Borough 3, Wigan 1.
Not sure Kolo Toure is enjoying his first few weeks in charge of Wigan Athletic, but at least they have something on the board there up on Teesside. Here in the East Midlands, Leicester have nothing on the board to show for their efforts against a rampant Newcastle United. 61 minutes gone on Talksport. More live football to come with Villa against Liverpool at 5:30 here on Talksport, exclusive to National Radio, followed by Arsenal against West Ham at 8 o'clock, exclusive to National Radio. Fast for Leicester with a straight ball downfield that's overhit away from Perez, bounces once and behind for a goal kick. Rochdale 1, Hartlepool 1. Ian Henderson, the old stager, gets Rochdale level. Elsewhere, Crawley 0, Sutton 1 in League 2. Tranmere 2-0 upon Doncaster. Stockport 1 up on Crewe, and AFC Wimbledon 1 up on Newport County. What's happening at Goodison Park in the Talksport 2 commentary? Matt Jones.
Still Everton 1, Wolves 1. Both sides have had chances since the start of the second half, but Everton really lacking conviction. Iwobi heading straight at Sarr, and then Gordon sending a free kick high and wide as well. The best of those two chances. Full coverage of this one on Talksport 2. 64 minutes gone. Everton 1, Wolves 1.
Remember, no win in 4 for Everton before the World Cup. No Premier League win in 5 for Wolves before that extended break. That's live on Talksport 2 right now with Mark Wilson and Dean Saunders, your commentary team at Goodison Park. Here at the King Power, Ian Dancer and Chris Iwelumo with you. 63 minutes played. Leicester City 0, Newcastle 3. Newcastle going second in the Premier League as things stand. Manchester City don't play for a couple of days yet when they go to Leeds on Wednesday night. That's live on Talksport at 8 p.m. with Adrian Durham, Nigel Adderley and Lucy Ward, your commentary team. Now Newcastle getting away down the right hand side. Almiron wanted to make a run into the box, but it's well protected by Amate, that ball, and is allowed just to drift behind for a goal kick. So you're listening to Leicester City 0, Newcastle 3. And for the latest odds, head to Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get both teams to score in the second half. Yes, 5-1, or no, 8-1 on. That's the very latest odds, all thanks to Betfair, 18+, and the website you need is begambleaware.org. Leicester in possession on halfway. Perez just tried to flick the ball round the corner, hoping that Vardy had made a run in behind him, but Newcastle win it back comfortably. Wood trying to make a nuisance of himself just inside the Leicester half, but they win it back, Leicester City, and Soumare has it. Chris Wood's had a good afternoon. Of course, no Callum Wilson today with a slight illness for Newcastle United, Chris Awelemo.
No,
and Woods acquitted himself well as a different sort of striker.
Yeah, you know what, he's an outlet, he's mobile. I think it's all about the quality that he receives. I have to say at the minute, Newcastle have taken their foot completely off the pedal at the minute and just basically not needing to score, just making sure that they're going to see the game out. Wood's probably a little bit more isolated now than what he has been in the previous probably 60 minutes. But it's like you say, it's in-game management in my opinion.
Willock for Newcastle won't reach the ball that was flicked up to him towards halfway. Perez has won it back for Leicester City. Now Fass inside his own half, being watched by Almiron. So it goes out to Samari on this near side. Good ball down the right for Perez, but out comes Nick Pope outside his own penalty area, and he quite cleverly protects the ball over the dead ball line and stops Perez getting anywhere near it. So it's behind for a goal kick. So Aston Villa Liverpool at 5:30. Adrian's there. We'll get team news from there in the next 5 or 6 minutes from Adam Bridge. Stuart Pearce will be your co-commentator at Villa Park. Arsenal West Ham at 8 with Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin, along with Dan Windle at the Emirates, and a double bill of EFL action starting at 5:15 with Cardiff QPR, Alex Crook and David Connolly, and then 7:45 we're at Kenilworth Road for Luton Town against Norwich City, and that'll be Jeff Peters and Kevin Watson, your commentary team at Luton. Back underway with a goal kick for Newcastle, who lead by 3-0 with 25 minutes to go on Talksport. Only the 2 changes made so far by Leicester, because they were forced to bring on Jose Perez in the first half for an injured Dennis Pratt, and then Vardy brought on at half-time for Daka. And Newcastle win the ball back. Joe Linton just stealing the ball off Castagna. Guimaraes in the centre of the Leicester half. Trippier screaming for it on the right-hand side, and its ball's rolled out to him. His first time ball in field was poorly judged, and Leicester have it back. Perez skipping away towards the left-hand side. Thomas inside his own half has the ball at his feet now. Plays it back infield to Perez almost on the halfway line. Accrington Stanley equalise against Barnsley. That's 1-1 now at the Wham Stadium. An equaliser from Tommy Lee. And Tyrese Campbell's equalised for Stoke at Rotherham. That's now 1 apiece in the Championship. Now Jamie Vardy at the edge of the area. He's offside as he collected the ball and kept it away from Fabian Schär and Sven Botman, but the flag had gone up. Free kick to Newcastle United, who still lead 3-0.
I have to have a look at this one. He makes this run all the time, ever so well, you know, and he's just off, you know, just the shoulder there, the left shoulder. But he's always an outlet, and that's something about the Leicester players. When you're in the full-back position or wide areas, you know that he's always going to be playing on the shoulder. You get that pass right, he can be in on goal.
Remember, we've got more commentaries tomorrow on Talksport. 5:30 Chelsea against Bournemouth, followed by Manchester United against Nottingham Forest at 8 p.m. And tomorrow also sees the kickstart of the World Darts, the PDC World Championships on Talksport 2. Our coverage starts tomorrow at 12:30 from Alexandra Palace. Now Willock for Newcastle, set free down the left-hand side of the area, tries to play the ball across the face of goal with the outside of his right boot. He has won a corner in the end, but he didn't have control of that pass, and Leicester only have a corner to worry about here rather than a 4th goal.
Well, if you're Chris Wood there, you're absolutely raging at Willock there. You know, great quality, great link up with Joe Linton. Just the way to pass was excellent. Why play the ball with the outside there? You're right there. You know, Chris Wood made an excellent run to the back post area. Make sure the contact's good with the left. Pass it across, and it's in the back of the net there for a 4th. For Newcastle if the pass was executed.
Trippier will have the corner at the north stand end, down to our left-hand side. He just had a word with Dan Byrne, who came to have a chat with him as he went to spot the ball down on this near side. Trippier, now he's 3 paces back from the ball. Lots of Newcastle players inside the 6-yard box, jockeying for position. In it comes, and it goes into the 6-yard box, comes out to the edge of the area. Almiron drove it, and it was blocked away by a forest of Leicester legs. But it comes back out to Newcastle on the far right-hand side of the field. Almiron trying to get the better of Sumare, protecting the ball, goes to ground. He was being fouled, says the assistant on that far side, by Sumare. Free kick to Newcastle United. Quarter of the game to go, and Newcastle are still hanging on to, well, not even hanging on, just quite content with this 3-0 lead they have.
Yeah, they're comfortable. I have to agree with that. You know, I think even when without possession, they're compact, they're organised. Defending, again, doubling up, knowing the responsibilities without the ball, and then as soon as you get it, they can just slow it down, and they're very, very patient with it. You know, very comfortable result at the minute. I'd be surprised if Leicester did get a goal, but these are the issues that for Leicester. You know, I think that's something that the defensive set-piece coaches come in, and there has been vast improvement. They don't really concede goals from set pieces, and then all today it's been really poor from open play as well.
Trippier with a free kick midway point of the half, hugging the right hand touchline, ball into the far post. It was a good header from Castagna. Had 3 Newcastle players behind him, headed it behind for a corner kick, Newcastle's 5th of the game, and they were queuing up behind Timothy Castagna if he hadn't made that header.
He had to make a decision, didn't he? And he made the right one there, because like you say, I think he got in there just before Dan Burnett was at the back post area, but great defending there from Castagna.
Huge ovation from the Newcastle fans in that corner as Trippier goes across to spot the ball down for another corner kick for the visitors. You've got Willett prowling the edge of the area. Also Joe Linton around the penalty spot. Ball's whipped into the near post, headed up in the air by Vardy. Willett tries to get the ball on the follow-up. He drove it goalwards, not at full pace, and it was well held in the end by Danny Ward. 20 to go, 3-0 Newcastle. Peterborough United equalise at Charlton. Johnson, Clark, Harris makes it 1-1 at the Valley in League One. Double substitution coming up for Leicester City as they try and get something out of this game. Wilfred Ndidi and Kelechi Iheanacho are going to be on shortly for the Foxes. Meantime, they've won a throw on the far side of the field, to be taken by Luke Thomas. Or will the change be made before the throw? Indeed it will. And Harvey Barnes is one of the players being taken off to allow Kelechi Iheanacho to come on. Barnes has just not been quite at it when he's needed to be in those important areas of the field, Chris Iwelumo.
Yeah, you know, just that kind of first touch, or that final little bit of quality that we usually see in game out. Well, the latter 6 weeks before the pre-break is his performances have been excellent.
And Sumare is being replaced by Wilfred Ndidi. Another goal at Selhurst Park. Jake Robson.
70 on the clock. Palace 0, Fulham 2. Tim Ream with a rare goal. A nice header down by Mitrovic from a corner. And Ream, 3 yards out, smashed it in. Game over. Palace 0, Fulham 2.
And the Palace down to 9 men. You can continue to follow that game via the Talksport app. Exclusive commentary here on the Talksport network of every Premier League game in the Boxing Day programme for the next couple of days. Whether it be Talksport, Talksport 2 or the app. Just get the app downloaded for your smartphone and listen away. Crawley 0, Sutton 2 in League 2. A penalty from Robert Milsom puts Sutton firmly in control of that game. Here, Newcastle have been in control since about 90 seconds into the game, when Leicester conceded a penalty, smashed home by Chris Wood, the former Fox. And it's still 3-0 to the Geordies. And they're in full voice, the travelling Geordie army away on the far side of the field. Let's see what Leicester can do with the 2 changes they made. Iheanacho can't profit on the loose ball midway point of the half. It's won back by Jose Perez. Ball goes out of play for a throw. Penalty at St Mary's. Ian Abrahams.
Gone to Southampton. Southampton 0, Brighton 3. Edozie challenged by Gross inside the penalty area. VAR had a good long look at it, but have given the penalty, backs up the referee. So James Ward-Prowse has the ball on the spot. He never misses. You know what's going to happen in the next 10 seconds. 2 steps back. Up steps Ward-Prowse. Oh my word. Straight at Sanchez, but it bounced back to Ward-Prowse, who nodded the rebound into the back of the net. Glad he did that, otherwise he might have had a go at me. Southampton 1, Brighton 3, 15 minutes to go. It's on the Talksport app.
Castagna down the right-hand side for Leicester City, desperately trying to get back into this game. 3-0 down to Newcastle. Wout Faes tries a ambitious drive from fully 40 yards out, just blocked by Almiron before it even barely got off his right boot. Leicester have won it back, and Faes again just plays it back to the edge of the centre circle for Amate. Just drifts in between a couple of Newcastle shirts. Plays it out to Castagna in the right wing position. Level with the edge of the area. Infield it goes to Iheanacho. Iheanacho wraps his left foot round it, but not enough. And it goes well wide of Nick Pope's right-hand post. And Newcastle have a goal kick. 3-0.
Yeah, he needed a lot of work on that one. And Iheanacho there, he received it, you knew straight away, before he even received the ball, he wanted to get a shot away. He just couldn't get it out his feet. Good connection, good power, but like you say, no accuracy on it.
You're listening to Leicester 0, Newcastle 3 on Talksport with Now Sports. Don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream the Premier League live without a contract from £11.99. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via the internet, terms apply. Ian Dancher and Chris Iwelumo with you at the King Power Stadium. 16 minutes of normal time to go. And a goal at Bramall Lane back in the Championship. Alan Biggs.
Game over. Sheffield United 3, Coventry City 0. Tommy Doyle just on a substitute, slamming home an angled shot. And Coventry are going to leave with nothing here. Sheffield United 3, Coventry 0.
And another goal at Ashton Gate, also in the Championship. Talksport's Lawrence Mora.
Bristol City 0, West Brom 2, and an absolutely glorious chip from around 35 yards by Brandon Thomas. Asante has curled over the goalkeeper into the back of the net. The Baggies in full control. Bristol City 0, West Brom 2.
Two quick goals at the Abbey. Cambridge 1, Shrewsbury 1. Stockport 2-0 up on Crewe through Will Collar. And here's Tielemans for Leicester City. Off to Villa Park for team news in a moment for our next exclusive commentary on Talksport. Villa-Liverpool. Leicester, though, approaching the Newcastle penalty area. Nodded down by Chris Wood, back defending. It'll be retrieved and prevented from going out for a corner by Guimaraes, and then he wins a goal kick. Very cleverly done. So let's get that team news. Aston Villa against Liverpool. Your commentator at Villa Park is Adam Bridge.
4 changes for the home side from the team that beat Brighton back in November. Martinez, Ramsey, Ings and Cash are the players who miss out. Olsen, Young, Bailey and Watkins come in. Coutinho returns to the bench against his former team. As for Liverpool, 6 changes from the defeat against Man City on Thursday night. Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Henderson, Fabinho and Oxlade-Chamberlain all start. The game's live from 5:30 here on Talksport.
We've missed none of the action here at the King Power because Joe Linton's been sat on his backside for the past minute, holding his right shin. That's some sort of problem.
It was from the first half. Remember the Castagna came through. I think it was a clash of the knees came through the back, and it just tightens up as the game's going on. But fair play to the big man. He's been outstanding today.
He's back on his feet and just moving okay towards the near touchline. Chance for a quick drink. And it'll be a goal kick eventually to Newcastle United, who've got 14 minutes to negotiate here with this 3-0 scoreline they have over Leicester City. And they will be moving into second place, in behind Arsenal and ahead of Manchester City, having played 2 games more than Pep Guardiola's men. But what a place for Newcastle fans to be. They were last in the top 3 at Christmas time back in 2001 under Sir Bobby Robson. They did end up finishing 4th in that campaign in the days of Shearer and Sir Bobby. I think they'd be happy with 4th right now at the end of the season, but right now they're going second. Rotherham 2, Stoke 1. Rotherham back in front through Connor Washington. The postie delivers with a second for the Millers at the New York Stadium. 2-1 they lead. Harrogate 2, Grimsby 2. Harrogate back on terms there. They were 2-1 down, but Luke Armstrong has got a goal for Harrogate. Ball's out of play on the far side. Leicester were trying to shred play from right to left, but it's just not happening for Leicester this afternoon. Wrexham, it's happening for them. They're 3-0 up on Solihull Moors now in the National League. Aaron Hayden with the third at the racecourse ground. In possession, Longstaff for Newcastle United. Finds Dan Burn in a bit of space inside his own half. Rolls it up to the halfway line, and Joe Linton. Joe Linton gets away from a couple of challenges. Just didn't give up on the ball, even though it looked like it was getting out of his possession. And then Newcastle win a free kick as Guimaraes is fouled by Tielemans.
Yeah, but it's too easy. You know, Castagna there and Ndidi there have to do more. Joe Linton lost control of the ball's reaction. You know, the length of the legs, just gets possession back again. But Leicester need to do more.
Newcastle have the ball with Almiron on the far right-hand side of the field, jinking in field, trying to roll it up to the edge of the area, just ricocheted away from Wood and through to the arms of Ward. Looks like Tranmere's wretched run is over after no win in 10. They're 3-0 up on Doncaster now. Paul Lewis with the third. Sheffield Wednesday have come from behind to lead at Fleetwood. Fleetwood 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Marvin Johnson, they're going to protect that long unbeaten run and turn it to 15 games. And Hull have equalised against 10-man Blackpool in the Championship. Oscar Estepinian making it 1-1 at the MKM. Here at the King Power, just over 11 minutes to go. And Newcastle United still holding sway here. 3-0 up against Leicester. And despite the 4 changes that have been made by Leicester, still we're waiting for Nick Pope to make a serious save. Another goal at Bramall Lane in the Championship. Alan Biggs.
Well, Sheffield United 3, Coventry 1. A glimmer for the Sky Blues, courtesy of Victor Gyökeres with a towering header flicked home via the despairing fingertips of Wes Foderingham. Sheffield United 3, Coventry 1.
Yeah, they like a late goal. Coventry, maybe that one isn't done. Castagna for Leicester. It's the Newcastle fan chicken here around us at the King Power Stadium. There's a few empty seats in the home end away to our left-hand side as people have seen enough. Indeed, meantime, looking for Vardy. Couldn't collect the ball with his back to goal at the edge of the area. It's won back anyway by Luke Thomas. Now it's with Dewsbury Hall. Gets it back out to the left-hand side, and Luke Thomas has to roll it back infield to Fass. Ndidi rolls away from the challenge of Guimaraes, and now Daniel Amate looks to drive towards the Newcastle penalty area. Dewsbury Hall gets the ball out of his feet, plays the ball to his right hand side, and Tielemans has to scamper across to keep it in play on this near side. Castagna gives the ball back to Tielemans. Now they're singing Christmas carols, the Newcastle fans, getting into the festive spirit, as well they might. Fass on halfway. Drills a ball into out, looking for Castagna. Good ball, nodded in field for Iheanacho. Lets the ball run across his body. Perez approaching the D. Now out to the right-hand corner of the box. Good ball in. Iheanacho with a flick on. He's offside, though. It went the wrong side of the post as far as Iheanacho was concerned. And it's gone out for a goal kick to Newcastle United. Is that a goal at Deepdale? Oh, it's a goal at Sellers Park, first of all. Jake Robson.
Another goal. 80 on the clock. It's Palace 0. Fulham 3, Mitrovic with his 10th of the season, couple of assists, and now he's got one for himself. Palace 0, Fulham 3.
And there is a goal at Deepdale. Talksport's John Dunn.
Preston 1, Huddersfield 1. A goal completely against the run of play, scored by Jordan Rose after some great work by substitute Briama Diarra down the right. Rose slotted into the bottom left corner. His first goal in 11 games. Preston 1, Huddersfield 1.
Red card at Bramall Lane in the Championship. Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United down to 10 men. John Egan sent off a second yellow card. All of a sudden it's interesting. Gyökeres pulled one back. Sheffield United reduced. Sheffield United 3, Coventry 1.
Back here, 10 minutes to go, and that's the signal for quite a few Leicester fans to make their way out of the King Power Stadium. They see no route back for their team at this point. They've seen enough and are heading to get back into their cars and head home. But not one Newcastle fan is shifting from their position over on the far side of the field. They're about to make a change as well, and Alain Saint-Maximin's going to get a brief cameo just to worry the Leicester defence for the last few minutes. 3-0 Newcastle lead. Leicester in possession with Iheanacho on the right wing. Chrissy Williams alongside.
Really impressive, isn't it, when you look at the bench as well at Newcastle. Saint-Maximin coming on, Jacob Murphy coming on, going into second place today. I know you're saying that everyone associated with Newcastle would jump at a Champions League spot, but you know, the Premier League, it changes every transfer window with the investment, the money that's thrown at it. And I don't think this team's going to fall away, I'll be honest with you.
Diagonal ball into the box. Leicester try and work it back from Iheanacho. Drops at the edge of the box for Dewsbury Hall. Drives it into the turf, but it bounces comfortably through for Nick Pope, who makes a very rudimentary save. Cheltenham 0, Plymouth 1. Big goal for Morgan Whittaker for Plymouth, who lead at Whaddon Road. And Rochdale 1, Hartlepool 2 in League 2. Callum Cook for Hartlepool. That double substitution ready for Newcastle next time the ball goes out of play. 8 minutes to go on Talksport. Newcastle 3-0 up and cruising to 3 points and second place as things stand. And the double change will now be made as the ball's gone out of play. And Alain Saint-Maximin is going to come on for Almiron for the first change. Saint-Maximin hasn't started a game for Newcastle since August. He's had an injury and been given some minutes in the recent weeks, but he's going to come on. Jacob Murphy coming on too. Tell you what, whilst we're waiting for these substitutions to be made, let's see what's happening in the Talksport 2 commentary at Goodison Park. Matt Jones.
84 minutes gone. It's still Everton 1, Wolves 1, but Everton are certainly pushing to see if they can find a winner here. Mikolenko has just flashed a volley wide of the near post from just outside the box, and we've also just seen one of the substitutes, Ben Godfrey, have an effort cleared off the line as well after Wolves failed to properly clear a free kick into the box. Both sides have made a whole host of changes, but for Wolves they haven't worked yet. 6 minutes left. Full coverage of this one on Talksport 2. It's Everton 1, Wolves 1.
So that double substitution made Saint-Maximin and Murphy are on. Willock is gone off. He's gone straight to the touchline, but Miguel Almiron's not daft. He's decided to walk in front of the Newcastle fans all the way down the far side of the field so he can get the ovation.
The longest way round, wasn't it? Miguel Almiron, you know, he is one of the fans' favourites, and let's just listen to this will be outstanding.
They're singing his song as he walks past that corner flag over on the far side of the field. 6 minutes of normal time to go. Newcastle enjoying their Boxing Day. Lovely touch from Saint-Maximin, gets it back on halfway from Wood. brings it infield. Oh, lovely ball further infield for Longstaff. He just couldn't take the ball with him. Fast guides it back to his keeper. Cambridge 2, Shrewsbury 1. Sam Smith puts Cambridge in front. They were behind, but now they lead. Wrexham 4, Solihull 0 in the National League. Paul Mullin again at the racecourse ground for Wrexham. Just over 5 minutes to go. Don't forget, we're straight off to Villa Park after this for another exclusive Premier League commentary for National Radio, only on Talksport. Aston Villa against Liverpool. Adrian Durham, your host there at Villa Park, along with Adam Bridge and Stuart Pearce. And then after that, we'll go straight to the Emirates Stadium for a London derby. Arsenal against West Ham at 8 o'clock kickoff. Dan Windle, Joe Shannon and former West Ham captain centre-half Alvin Martin will be your commentary team for that. And don't forget the double-header of EFL action if you want to hear more Championship commentaries. That's over on Talksport 2 from 5:15 with Cardiff QPR, followed by Luton against Norwich. Just get the app. Just get the app. You can just listen to the lot. It's dead easy. I'm a drummer and even I can work out how to work the Talksport app. We're supposed all to be stupid. 5 minutes to go. 3-0 to Newcastle United. Castagna for a beleaguered looking Leicester City. The North Stand home support away to our left hand side is, well, not quite empty, but it's over half empty now, and it was full to the brim, as you might expect, before kick-off on Boxing Day, with fans desperate to come back into this stadium and give their team some support, but they've seen enough, Chris Iwelumo.
Yeah, you know what, I think it was the first, 90 seconds just on the back foot, allowing Newcastle to put the pressure on, force the error, and then capitalise with the penalty, and then just went on from there.
Castagna, right-hand side for Leicester, plays the ball in field to Perez. Iheanacho gives the ball back to Jose Perez, right-hand corner of the box, tried a little chop to get away from Joe Linton. One back temporarily by Newcastle. Ipswich 3-0 up on Oxford. Connor Chaplin with a third. Mansfield take a late lead against Northampton in League 2. That's an important goal. 5th against 3rd this afternoon. Will Swan for the Stags. Rotherham 2, Stoke 2, an own goal. Gets Stoke back level. Lee Peltier put the ball back into his own net. Castagna for Leicester. Whips the ball in from the right-hand side. It's cleared by Botman. Volley towards goal from Ndidi. Again, straight at Pope. He didn't have to move and could just collect it as it bounced in front of him.
It's not a bad effort, though. Good connection, good power on it. Either side of Pope there. That's causing a few issues, I think.
Wrexham 5, Solihull 0. Hat-trick for Paul Mullin this afternoon. And Salford 1, Barrow 1. Barrow equalised at the Peninsula through Jordan Stevens. Now, Leicester coming forward. Ball blocked at the edge of the area from a shot by Jose Perez. Comes out to Iheanacho. 25 yards out. Tries to play the ball into the box. It might break for Vardy. Vardy, it's off the bar. And it's been ruled out for offside anyway. Had he managed to bundle the ball in. 3 minutes to go. And Vardy still hasn't scored on a Boxing Day.
Well, you know what, I'm sitting thinking, how can he be offside? Because the ball, he's received the ball, he's not offside, and if he scored there, it would have counted. Oh, wait, no, it was he's walking on.
These pesky replays, moving backwards then forwards.
Unbelievable. Yeah, he was offside. Linesman's got that one spot on.
Chris Iwelumo alongside me, Ian Dancer here at the King Power. And Matt Ritchie's going to get a couple of minutes out here as well for Newcastle as we drift towards the 89th minute. And he's going to come on for Chris Wood, who got things rolling with that penalty against his old club 90 seconds in, Chris.
Yeah, I think he would be happy with the goal. You always are, but I think he's done his job. Defensively, comes back, puts his head on it, but he's been an outlet, makes the ball stick, brought other players into play. Matt Ritchie now just comes on and that little cameo role on the right-hand side, centre of midfield.
He's been told actually to stay on the left-hand side. He was charging across to the far side of the field. He's told, no, stay here, because Sam Maximan is going into a centre-forward position now that Wood is off. Goal kick for Newcastle inside their own penalty area. And Pope will drive it right-footed downfield, headed up in the air by Ndidi. Joe Linton got his head to the loose ball, but Leicester have it back. Castagna looking for Tielemans. Back for Castagna, the two Belgians combining. Back it goes to Amate, who was pressurised by Sam Maximan. And Ndidi casually keeps the ball away from Guimaraes and plays it out to the left-hand side, where it's kept in play by Thomas. And then Fass will give the ball back to his keeper Ward, right-footed, strikes the ball out to the halfway line. Up go the heads. It's won by Dan Byrne, who doesn't lose many headers at 6'7". Amate charging back to his own dead ball line to retrieve it and guide it back into the penalty area for his keeper, Ward. And his ball, intended for Thomas, is hit with a bit too much club and goes straight out for a Newcastle throw as we edge towards added time on Talksport. Newcastle 3-0 up.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been great quality from all across the back four. Even the goalkeeper distribution's been poor, but again, just forcing the issue. You know, I think when it can go a little bit with more quality, more pace from back to front, that option's on.
Late goal at deep. Which way's this gone? John Dunn.
5 minutes remain. Preston 1, Huddersfield 2. Huddersfield have hardly threatened, and then they look to be taking the 3 points. The goal coming from Loney, Kane, Kessler, Hayden, turning in at the far post, a Redondi cross. Huddersfield's fans jubilant. Preston 1, Huddersfield 2.
Well, in fairness to Mark Fotheringham, he's always been positive about Huddersfield's chances of getting out of trouble. That's a big, big win if they can hold on to that. Northampton have equalised at Mansfield in that game between 5th and 3rd in League Two. Sam Hoskins with another for the Cobblers, and we're just moving into 3 minutes of minimum added time here at the King Power. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3. Don't forget we're off to Villa Park next for Villa against Liverpool, which is a 5:30 kickoff, exclusive to Talksport with Adrian Durham, Adam Bridge and Stuart Pearce. And then straight after that, Arsenal against West Ham, also exclusive to Talksport from 8 p.m. And there's not many Leicester fans left to presumably let their team know what they think of them when the full-time whistle blows from Jared Gillett. Newcastle have won it back. Ritchie guides the ball neatly up to the halfway line. And Guimaraes trying to slide in. Jacob Murphy. Murphy trying to get round the keeper. The angle's tight. Keeper's trying to block it and fast blocks it on the line to stop Jacob Murphy getting a goal. But the offside flag went up anyway against Jacob Murphy. Leicester have a free kick and it's only 3-0.
Yeah, but Fast wasn't to know that. Excellent defending, wasn't it? He is offside when you're looking at it on the monitor. Fast done everything right. And like you say, good block with the left eye. Offside in the end.
Another change for Newcastle. And Elliot Anderson, youngster from the academy at Newcastle, joined at the age of 8 from Wallsend. 19 years of age, made his Premier League debut a couple of years ago, yet to score for Newcastle. And he's going to come on for Sean Longstaff for these last couple of minutes. So a free kick for Leicester City, just ahead of their own 18-yard line, to be struck downfield by Danny Ward. Headed away with some ease by Fabian Schitt, and another goal late on at the Riverside. Talksport's Graham Courtney.
Yeah, 3 minutes of 6 added on. It's Middlesbrough 4, Wigan 1, and it's a hat-trick for Chuba Akpom. His third, our fourth. It's Middlesbrough 4, Wigan 1.
Harrogate 3, Grimsby 2 as well. Max Crocombe with a late goal for Grimsby. Probably won't be enough. At Wetherby Road, cleared downfield by Nick Pope for Newcastle United, who are going second in the Premier League as things stand. It's been the Newcastle fans that you've been hearing almost exclusively from the terraces, probably since about 90 seconds in. Sam Maximan wriggling his way infield, finds Joe Linton, who scored the third. Out to Matt Ritchie, left-hand side. Burns making the underlapping run, but it goes back to Joe Linton. 15 seconds of the minimum 3 minutes to play, and then it's up to Jared Gillett. Joe Linton gets his head up, starts driving forward. Sam Maximan lays it off. It's rolled to the right-hand corner of the box. Murphy, faced up by Thomas, gets the ball deeper into the area, then has to run away from the edge of the box as he's forced outside, but then looks to play Matt Ritchie. And a late goal at Goodison Park in the Talksport 2 commentary. Matt Jones.
What drama here. It's Everton 1, Wolves 2. They've come from behind to take the lead. Everton had the ball for about a minute, went absolutely nowhere with it. They gave it away. Wolves counter-attacked and they got the cross into the box where the substitute Rayan Aït-Nouri was waiting to somehow bundle it home with 30 seconds left of injury time. It's Everton 1, Wolves 2.
That game continues on Talksport 2, but the full-time half-time whistle has gone here at the King Power, and a Boxing Day battering for Leicester as Newcastle United go second in the Premier League table, courtesy of a 3-0 win. A former Fox got them going 90 seconds in when Joelinton was fouled in the box by Amate. Chris Wood, former Leicester player, smashed home the penalty, and further goals in that first half from Almiron after a brilliant 1-2, and Joelinton with a firm header effectively meant the game was won by half-time. There was nothing Leicester could do in the second half. Newcastle rampant and up to second place behind Arsenal in the Premier League table. What a Christmas present for the travelling Geordie army. Full time at the King Power. Leicester City 0, Newcastle 3.
Well, all the full times will be coming up very shortly. Liverpool just come out to warm up here at Villa Park. Floodlights are on. We're waiting for a 5:30 kick-off, Villa-Liverpool, but...